Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to another episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
What a week.
What a week, what a week, what a week.
You get what a week's once a month, so go fuck yourself. I get one once a year or two, if that.
This is true.
Anyway, what we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But as usual, first, Kamar, how was your week?
Not a great week, Matt, but first I'd like to start off by acknowledging the new Patreons. And thank you for letting us into your home. Big welcome to YYH. Came at $10. Some sort of acronym.
Yeah, they're on the YouTube. They comment a lot. They're good people.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to Carla Hagler from Dallas.
Carla from Dallas.
It's as if we're ever in Dallas, come on down.
Thank you, Carla.
I forget her cat's name.
Hope to get down to Texas. But yeah, I mean, it was overwhelming this week with all the people sharing their Spotify. What is that called?
6 of them, the wrap up, year-end wrap.
Well, we don't have to put a number on it. There's many.
Well, you said many.
The year wrap-ups, and lots of people are listening. I was a little disappointed. I sent Simon a 4-hour Alex Jones and Joe Rogan and didn't acknowledge it. Thought that was a little cold.
I listened to it as much as I could.
But
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. First of all, I didn't even notice that you just sent it to me. I thought you sent it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was like you sending it directly to me. Had I noticed that, I would have said, thanks, Kamar.
I thought that's what I expected. I thought it was a personal gift to you, but whatever.
I'm sorry.
Spoke.
For the record, Simon hasn't really responded to many texts in the last month and a half.
It's not true.
This is fair.
I don't even know why you take that as an insult. You're starting a business. You're busy. Like,
But it's just...
oh, so you're just saying you're an asshole? It has nothing to do with the business? Because I'm giving you an out.
He likes the big time people.
No. Not at all.
Is he big timing us? Like now he's a businessman and
That's it. He's big time.
Okay,
Big
he's on
time.
Bezos level now. We're not invited to the party. We're in the garden.
He's a capitalist.
Welcome to Bohemian Grove, boys.
But
Next year,
it was
maybe.
4 hours of Joe and Alex, and Joe is wasted. Not quite Tom Green, but he's in the bag, safe to say.
I just don't want that. Don't care for that.
I that's why I didn't send it to you.
It's interesting, though, because like I was saying to Kamar, Joe is way more real on somebody else's podcast than he is on his own podcast, which is like bonkers at this point. But you really get like this insight into him that is just lost on his own program.
I'm glad what you saw was appreciated. Also, did you see that Formula One crash?
No.
There's a Formula One crash last week where the car just exploded and is on fire, and like 30 seconds later, the guy comes out. Or I guess it's 15 seconds later. But they have a rule in Formula One that if your car crashes, you have to get out within 10 seconds or you get penalized.
What a ridiculous rule.
Or you die, Matt. That's
Yeah.
the penalty.
Like I'm trapped in a fiery wreckage and it's like, well, he's been in that fiery wreck for 5 seconds too long. Looks like there's going to be a $50,000 fine this week.
That's the dumbest thing. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
You have 10 seconds to exit your car. I mean, usually it's just... This was an extreme incident when the car was on fire, but just if the car is on the side of the road, they want you away from it.
Keep in mind, we say it's stupid. There's obviously a reason behind it. There's obviously racing experts for years, or else it wouldn't be a rule.
They don't want you
There's a
just
safety reason
sitting in
behind
there
it.
arguing like...
Who the fuck sits in a burning car arguing? This is the craziest thing
I
I've
think
ever
their point
heard.
is it's not always a burning car. Sometimes your car just breaks
that's
down
what
on
I
the
was trying
side
to
and they
say.
want you out of it quick.
This was an extreme example, but the guy survived. It's very crazy. But I was also watching bull riding this week. Which do you think is crazier, race car driving or bull riding?
Bull riding.
I think so. That's what I thought. And there's small guys on these bulls, and it's not hard for you to get it. Well, they're wearing helmets now, but
I think actually the clowns is the craziest job.
just to have a bull
Rodeo clown?
stomp on your head.
Rodeo clown. Your job is to go in and distract that bull when he's trying to kill the rider.
So how was your week?
It's a great week.
Simon?
My week was okay. I'm not. You know what? You know what I got into this week is No Jumper.
Adam 22.
Yeah, didn't know that guy existed.
I love that you say you don't know the things that we've been talking about for 2 years.
I'm just like,
No, because I
can't do this anymore.
I hear you say words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it might as well be in another language. Anyways, I don't know if I like him or not. I don't know what all the hype's about. But the things I found interesting were when he goes to like, just an example, there was like this 15-year-old Australian rapper and he follows him around his like ghetto or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know those places existed in Australia. I mean, of course they do, but anyways, the stuff I didn't like so much is his own. I didn't like the show so much.
It'll be interesting to see because he just had a kid.
With Lena who is that? Like, I feel so old.
She's an Instagram
man.
whore.
Yeah, I don't have to explain this to you, but
You don't have to explain to me who she is.
I've told
She's a
you.
porn star.
I've told you all this
She is a
before. It's just the words you don't listen to.
She's a porn star, Matt? Like, she's actually been in porn movies?
More OnlyFans. She just did her own content like that. She's not like a porno. Like she's a porn star. Yeah, she fucks on camera. But
What are we doing here?
Like, did she get popular on Instagram by being a porn star, or did she get
like
become a porn
wearing
star
lingerie
by
on
being
Instagram.
It's a good question. I don't follow these Insta thirst traps as hard as I maybe used to or should. I don't have the background is what I'm saying to you.
So, like, what did I find out about him? He got jumped by some guy's crew named...
Russ
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, it was
And
about
then some
2
guy
years ago.
pulled a gun on him or something.
in the
That was
studio.
on
That
in the
was
studio
crazy.
on camera.
How does
exciting.
that happen?
So his security guard went out to grab Postmates.
Yeah.
Postmates is like their Uber Eats.
Okay.
Well, they have Uber Eats, but Postmates is another one.
Postmate is sticky notes.
Yeah, so this one in the States will deliver whatever you want.
No, sticky notes, you know.
Yes, I understand what you're talking about. Yeah. His security guard goes out to grab the food. As he grabs the food and is coming back, some like weird sketchy dude was outside with a gun just waiting and just slid into the studio and then pulled a gun out on him. And if you watch the video, it's pretty, like, do you watch it, I assume?
I watched that, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty handled it better than I probably would have.
Dude, I would have fucking shit my pants. Sorry. I would have shit my
He
pants.
may
for
have
sure,
shot his
man.
pants and just never told anyone.
I don't know. What did he say? I saw him doing like a wrap up on it, and he was saying right away I could see that my security guard had his gun on him, and that gave
Well, he
me,
was like-
more
he was like-
confidence to not.
Well, and the
be
gun
so
wasn't
worried.
loaded at the end. So
Well,
he
he
was
did-
like,
he
this
didn't
guy,
know that,
I know he
though.
doesn't know that, but he's like, this guy nearly lost his life.
Oh no, for sure. But I mean, like Adam 22 or whatever, like pulls the guy's legs out from it. I don't think I would have done that. I would have fucking ducked under the table like a giant pussy.
The studio used to be like he had a BMX shop.
And it
The
was in the
studio used
back.
to be in the back.
So was he a skate? He was a BMX.
was a pro
rider?
BMXer.
Yeah, BMX.
Yeah, I'm fucking so,
But
so weird.
The studio
Okay.
used to be in the back of the shop, so there's a lot of people around more. So these things could happen. Mm-hmm. But they shut down the shop, and now he's just
Anyways, yeah. So that's
Vlogger.
watched a lot of that kind of shit.
welcome to the party.
Yeah, no, I'm done now. I got my fill.
On the next
I mean,
one.
because I just don't care about.
Oh yeah, it's
the
very
guys he's
hip hop centric.
interviewing, So.
Yeah, you don't, I can't,
But,
I couldn't even believe when you said,
But I
jump.
like the ones where they go to the hood. You know, that seems more like a documentary than
Those are far and few
anything
between.
to do with hip hop, really. I mean, I guess it has to do with it, but you know what I mean.
And he had the one where the girl said Odell Beckham likes getting shit on.
Oh, that's where that was from. Okay, well, there you go. It all comes full circle.
Full circle. How was your week, Matt?
Another report.
Fantastic.
Still don't have my PlayStation 5.
Oh, that's what I was say. You're on the clock, eh? And what do you have, like, to the 24th, basically?
Oh no, he's fucked. The guy that gave it, he's. I mean, actually, he's not fucked because Walmart Canada put them on sale again, and it crashed their website. And then these resell bots came out and were like, "We bought 5,000 of them, no problem." So people are pissed, and people are having trouble getting them. So yeah, as long as I can get it before Christmas. But I'm telling you, like, fuck that company up and down. Anyway,
Sony or
oh,
Walmart?
both of them. Fuck both.
All
of them.
companies.
One last thing about Adam 22. Sorry. So my son has been into Kadama for a really long time.
I don't know what you just said.
Yeah, Kadama with the
You
ball
know,
on the stick.
The thing is when he plays. I couldn't believe it. Like, anyways.
I
We were
got
talking
one
about
from you.
Kadama. Are we talking about the game where you throw the ball up and you got to catch it?
Yeah.
I got
Your
one, a
son is into
Kadama
that?
from you.
My son has played that for like years. He's not like super into it, but I always thought it was like weird that he played it. And then I saw this guy playing and he's like in the fucking hood giving out Kadamas to people. Kendama, whatever the hell they're called.
And he also is like a hardcore Pokemon Go player.
He's just so fucking weird.
It is weird. It is weird. It
I'm
is
so
weird.
lost, man.
A riddle wrapped in
in an enigma.
Anyways.
All right, let's run down the guests.
What a week. What a week. What a week. This is actually our first week song any other platform but Spotify.
You were right, Kamar.
Started with 1572, Moxie Marlinspike.
Is that what he was doing there?
I think so.
No, I don't think. I was just acknowledging this is
You were right,
the
Kumar.
new era. Then finished up by 1573, Matthew Yglesias. And we finished with what can only be said as Christmas comes early for Simon. 1574 is Jacques Vallee and Jamie Foxx. No, that's James Fox.
I like when something's funny to you. You must have had like a inside joke with yourself about Yglesias.
Just because it's Iglesias, but why? Why the why?
Why the why? Okay.
All right, let's rate the week. We'll start with Kamar, actually. We'll let Simon get his out last here.
I'm going to give this week a 2.
Interesting.
What?
What?
That doesn't seem right.
I'm going to give the week a...
Let's find out.
I'm going to give it a 3. It should be closer to a 3.5 mathematically because I think I'm at like a 3.3, but I'm going to round down to a 3. Tough one for Simon.
And I'm gonna give it a
Can you stop us? Can I stop you, actually?
sure.
I don't need any suspense. Are you giving out a 5 this week?
No,
Piece of shit.
absolutely not.
What's wrong with you? Let it play out.
'Cause I almost want to leave now.
Well, because it's not a 5. It's not a 5. It had some
He
problems.
needed, so they needed a Bigfoot photo as
no,
well?
No, we're on the clock. We need evidence. We need something new.
I almost thought like Jacques Vallee is a legend in the game,
A legend.
but I
known.
almost thought that it would have been better just James Fox. It got like, whoa, it got clunky. And
Let's get to it. That's
Anyways,
yeah.
yeah. So content amazing, but
What do you rate the week?
I rate the week a maybe a 4 or 4.5. I don't know. My math is bad.
That's what you rate the week.
Yeah.
I think it's best when we have different ratings
Yeah.
than when we're all in agreement.
But my math is horrible. Like I'm not
You just rated the week of 4. What?
a 4 or 4.5. I don't know.
and now you're going to go through
I don't
each
really,
episode.
So just
and
I
figure
don't
out
really
how there.
remember the first 2 episodes that much.
Well, you're
so-
going to have to give them both 4s to get to 4 point anything. If Jacques Vallee and Fox is not getting a 5,
Yeah.
the other 2 must mathematically receive
Pretty
4s.
much be 4s, yeah.
Okay, so then no, it's like 4, I guess. 3.5.
Well, let's see how we got there.
That's what I mean.
I like that he drops down to 4,
I
not
have
realizing
to-
that they still need to get 4s.
I have to work. So then everything needs to get a 4. Then
Only as a result of your browbeating.
a 3. It's a 3.
I don't want to browbeat him into shit.
You're a
a 3.
th- you're a
I don't
three.
know. We'll
Wow,
see.
from a
Simon,
4.5 to a 3 before the show even starts.
Here.
I don't want to rate.
Very
anymore.
confident with my
Okay.
2.
I'm done with rating.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
At least rate till the new year happens.
No. Okay, then I'm just quitting. Fuck this. We're just making a different podcast. Can we start?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Fired up there, kids. 1572.
Moxie.
What a weird.
Marley Moxie Spike.
That name isn't real.
Marlin Moxie Spike.
What is his name?
Moxie Marlinspike.
Thank you. I was like, his name's
No,
Moxie.
you don't. That's such a ridiculous name. Anyways.
I love that you're mad at him.
Well, maybe I should be at his parents, but if we found out that he made that name, then I could be mad at him.
Michael B. Jordan.
That's simple. Should we start off with a round of rock, paper, scissors before we get into this?
No.
You want to go, eh?
You want to play rock paper scissors?
I want to go right now, buddy.
That was a weird moment, eh? You got nothing. that I would want.
I think that's the most poignant part of this whole podcast.
It's not, though, because it's also like, Joe, this guy's equally rich.
No, I don't think he's that rich. I mean, he's up there.
Okay, fine. He's rich.
He's rich.
Now we're going to have to play that game.
Either way.
Marlinspike, what do you think he's worth?
Well, he was supposed to get something like 80 million from WhatsApp, but walked away from it. What's most interesting is about this guy's background before this app, Signal.
Moxie Marlinspike is worth... Oh, my God. He must be worth so much.
I'm going to say 200
200 million. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Just throwing that out there. Speaking of rock, paper, scissors, and Joe being super weird about that, I immediately thought of two people that would have squared up against that guy without even thinking about it and put their homes on the line.
Yeah, again, not enough, according to Joe.
No, not to play Joe, but to play Moxie. You know what I mean? These two guys would have put their fucking homes up for sure. I wonder what he means, though, never lost. Like, never lost a round, never lost a best of 3. Because statistically speaking, impossible.
That can't be right. That's got to be a lie.
Again, though, unless he's got some trick where he's like watching your hand super closely and he reacts a split second later, that kind of thing.
To never lose? Did he say he never lost?
That's what he said.
Never lost
Undefeated.
a round?
But that was my question. That's where we...
Like best 2 of 3, he never lost?
That's
or
what I'm...
he's never lost. Like you throw out rock and every time he throws
he's
out
got
what
paper.
beats rock, paper.
Yeah, that was my question, Simon. I was like, does this guy mean he's never lost a single round? Because that's just bananas. Like, Michael Jordan lost basketball games. You know what I mean? You lose. Statistics. They work for a reason.
You all right there, Kamar?
We can't find out how much he's worth.
That is bullshit.
It's between 50 million and 2.5 billion.
That's a pretty wide berth.
Yeah, but
Well, we both win.
with WhatsApp, he walked away from 850 million.
Yeah, listen, he walked away from that. He's not hurting.
He walked
must
away
be-
from almost $1 billion.
That's what I'm thinking, and that's what I was thinking when Joe was saying that.
Wait a minute,
I was
Signal or
like,
WhatsApp?
Well, he was first Twitter security.
Yeah, I understand.
Then he went
that.
on and developed WhatsApp.
I didn't realize that. That's
and now
crazy.
he's doing Signal.
Must not have been.
I
listening
think
to that
he's
part.
richer than Joe. That was what was so weird about that.
That was my point. When
Yeah.
Joe was so
Maybe Joe doesn't realize that.
I don't think Joe really
No, I don't think
realized
he
it
did
at
either.
all.
I was like, Joe,
Because this guy looks like he's worth like a bag of potatoes. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my first problem. I
let me
don't.
tell you something. Most people that are worth that kind of money look like a bag of potatoes.
No. I'm saying though, it's not like he rolled in a Maserati. Like I'm sure he rolled up in like a fucking Winnebago that burns vegetable oil. You know?
I hate to prejudge people, but the dreads just threw me off.
Oh, I didn't watch this one, so that's good.
Long dreads.
Yeah, white dreads.
And that, to each their own, it's a block for me. I can get past it. But what I'm trying to say is, did you guys not think Joe was coming off ugly? Yeah. Like, you know how much money that's worth?
Well, that was the weirdest thing to me is I was like, Joe, this guy could give you 3 children to come on for the week, and you're still going to make that money. People still listen. Like,
It seemed like
Oh, it was
the
gross.
Emperor had no. It was gross. It was gross.
It
This
was
is what
gross.
I'm saying. It was the lowest I've ever seen Joe in my life.
I mean, in all fairness, he's just a human, and you know what I mean. Like I don't think he thought too much about it. Obviously,
I get it, but you can just say no.
but what assholes
Yeah.
is Moxie Marlinspike going to put on the show
That was what I was thinking. Like, you have this guy on.
and the next guest on?
Well, I think
Well, yeah, that-
I think
yeah.
he was pretty much saying, "Listen, you're not gonna ruin my show with your liberal ideologies.
You
You
get the
know,
next guest.
no money is worth that to me."
It really left a bad taste in my mouth. Just the rock paper scissors, and then Joe's like overly defensive. Like
was
the
like
lady doth protest too much.
Insinuating that he never has like a stinker,
Part of me,
like he
too,
has a
though.
perfect track record of like, no, there are plenty of fucking.
Part of me, too, thinks maybe it was a mind fuck, like a social experiment by Moxie. Just like you prove your point. That if you come out braggadocious enough, like I never lose, and then you put something big up, or that they feel is big, that they'll never take the bet.
Well, I wish Joe was more aware of Moxie's net worth.
I wish we were more aware of Moxie's net worth.
I just meant in that interaction to go, okay, I want a yacht. I mean,
Well, why not just to prove the point? Because it's such a fucking weird statement to make. Just put some money up on the line. You're both super rich. Why did it have to be
But I think
the
that's
thing that Joe holds the most dear to his heart? You know?
No, but if you're Joe, then why don't you do the smart thing, which I think is what Kamar's saying. If he says a week's worth of programming, then just look at him and be like, okay, and if I win, I get a super yacht.
If that's
$200 million.
Joe wants.
No, but you know what I mean?
Or I
no,
would have
no,
been
I
like,
agree.
I want your seat at the board of Signal. Just say something equally ridiculous.
Oh, your wife for a night.
Well, his wife's probably a robot, but it just was ugly. Like, do you know how much that's worth? Like, how much is that worth, Joe? Like,
I think he just got caught off guard because this guy was like,
yeah,
it was just a weird way to start.
he got
Anyways.
it. He got
Keep in
exposed.
mind, though, it also showed you that there's no way fucking Spotify is pulling any strings because he got so defensive of giving up any inch of his show.
It was the lowest point I've ever had listening to the show.
Wow.
Either way.
I cannot say the same, but I
Well,
respect
just
your
how he
opinion.
got defensive, and it was just awkward. And then the only other part for me was the story about how he almost died.
The only other part, this was a really good podcast. That's very odd. You agree?
I found we didn't talk enough about the his history at Twitter, WhatsApp. It was just basically the Justin Bieber thing or whatever, and he, I think, skirted around the questions. Personally, that's what I thought.
I thought it was interesting when he was saying like when Bieber would send the tweet through.
Yeah, the lights would like
would,
dim
like,
and yeah.
rock the whole place. You know, you depend on this.
When they're in a basement.
Fucking crazy, man.
Let's not depend on it.
Not
It's like when he
depend on, but
tweets
it's-
out, there's so many fucking, it's like
Yeah.
the whole thing could come undone.
And Joe's, I could see him working out like the argument in his head as he was going. Whoa, sorry, excuse me. Where he's like, you know, I get it. I get why they would stop him from trending every day, even though the truth is that no matter what, he's always the number one topic. But I mean, is that really what you want to be? Like, you're not going to get a lot of credibility as Twitter if your number one story every day is, you know, what color Justin Bieber's toothbrush
I wonder if
is
that was
or
the start of
whatever.
their manipulation.
Well, this is what I mean right there, because that's before an algorithm. That's just common sense business. Like, this isn't what we
can't
don't
make it
want to
Justin
be
Bieber's app.
TMZ.
Well, it's not necessarily before an algorithm. They had algorithms. That's how you get a top trending thing.
Yeah, but there's no algorithm that was going to stop Justin Bieber from trending. That's
get
a
it.
decision that was made by human beings.
You could also argue the same thing for YouTube and not putting Joe on trending.
But all I could think is TMP, and that the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
By this guy?
Well, I'm sure when they started Twitter, they just wanted you to be able to post your breakfast. Like, it's the same thing over and over again with all these.
mean,
Maybe
do-
this will be the exception.
Do you guys really think that? Do you think that social media platforms went in with like a virtuous heart, or was it a business where they were trying to make money right from day one? I mean, they didn't right from day one, but that doesn't mean that that wasn't the intention.
Do I think they started out to end up in the social dilemma? No.
Like, I heard somebody talking about Zucks the other day and saying, like, if you think that guy went in, I don't know.
Yeah. On
Did-
the This Is Not Age Well. The
Yeah,
guy
let me-
started Reddit.
So we all heard it the other day then. I hate when I do that.
It's okay.
But point is, the statement was, if you think that Zucks went into this with a pure heart, you're fucking crazy.
It's to make money, though, not to manipulate people and own their eyeballs and attention.
It's for pussy.
I guess it is.
That is the fucking... Listen, the guys that create these things probably never get laid in high school, rarely get laid, period, until they're like almost 30. They're just trying to create something that will make them enough money so they can go out and get the best pussy money can buy.
I don't believe that.
I believe that.
How do you not believe that?
That's what every man does.
Yeah,
Anything.
that's...
for
I
it.
just don't buy it, Simon. Like, so
You
you're starting a
don't buy
business...
that they were going in to try and make money? Like
yeah,
the-
money to get pussy. That's what I'm saying. But
I don't. I think they were trying to make money. I think it was a business all along. There was no, if you want to call that pussy, whatever.
But even then, you're starting a business. Should I look down on you because you're starting it to make money?
no, I'm
But that's what I'm saying.
doing it to make money.
Yeah, so that's what they were doing. That's
Yeah,
why everyone starts a
good
business.
for them. That's what I'm saying. But they're trying to sell us a bill like they were trying to be these virtuous guys who are trying to like give the world a platform to communicate.
I think
Like,
everyone does that. When you're young and altruistic, I think that's what you do. That's what you think you're doing.
Okay.
And you cannot foresee the unintended consequences down the road. as we've seen, banning hate crimes, whatever is going on. There's no way they predicted that.
No, I don't.
There's no way Mark Zucks thought he'd have someone post themselves going to a mosque and shooting a bunch of people.
No, and nor did he have that power when he started. Right, like I'm with you there. I don't think any of these guys, like I don't think the Twitter guy is any different. I just think they were, I mean, maybe, who are the Reddit, not the Reddit, maybe Reddit. Maybe they started off with like, I don't know, man.
But and then that leads me back to what I said. So this is the first guy who is going in with that intention to not make money,
Simon,
and to provide something that's secure. Sorry,
I'm just curious. You think that liberals and the people on the left are these like bleeding heart people, yet you somehow think that in that bleeding heartness, they're going to create a company to become a massive, like, evil conglomerate. I find that the juggle there is very odd.
Sorry, repeat that.
You think that all these social media companies are filled with, created by, and surrounded with bleeding heart liberals, correct?
I mean, no, not necessarily. I think they're liberals for sure.
Okay, but you've been saying this for months now, that you think it's filled with, and that all they do is block people on the right, and that they lean left heavily. So what I'm saying to you is, it's not a very... Okay, go ahead.
Matt, finish.
Well, it seems very odd that these bleeding heart liberals would try to create what you're talking about, some evil corporation to dominate all.
I don't think... Okay, I think they started off as a money-making endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what I think they started as. And when they got power, they started using that power for whatever some of them used it to further fucking political agendas. Some of it used it to make more, whatever. I don't think any of these people, like the social, what's the movie there?
The Social Dilemma?
No, the Social Network.
The Hollywood one there.
The Social Network?
Yeah. Like... I mean, I guess that made him look kind of shitty in the end, but...
No, throughout it made him look shitty. There was never a time during that movie where I was like, Mark Zuckerberg's a super cool guy.
He blessed that movie.
Yeah, I guess. It didn't make Facebook look bad, though. It made him look bad, right?
Oh, it made... I don't know.
It made him look like he fucked over his partner.
Which he did.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just interesting. I was thinking as you guys are talking this, because the first guy is Sean Parker is in that, right? Like Napster was just to provide free music. And I didn't even know if it was like, and I'll make lots of money off this. Like these are young hackers, like they're almost anarchists. That I honestly believe their intention is not to take over the world or be what they end up becoming.
Yeah, I don't think their intention was to take over the world either.
And here we are. And so I'm just this guy, Moxie Marlinspike, is the exception to the rule because he's done so much bad with Twitter and WhatsApp, and that's what. And maybe his near-death experience, he decided to create Signal, and he kept.
I'm sorry. Why do you think? So you think Twitter is just awful, correct?
No. We think they're all awful from the Social Dilemma. Whether their intentions are awful or not is not for me to say, but he kept alluding. This will be an app. This will not just be a messenger system. There'll be an app. He didn't get into how that will happen, but...
Well, he said more that we're working. He vaguely said we're somewhat working, but I don't think he meant that Signal will become that.
Well, I don't know. All I'm saying is we just went over all the social medias and whether they start out evil or ended up evil, or even if it is evil. I don't think that's the right word to use. But this is the one guy who is coming out of the gates with good intentions. Why he's doing this? A totally encrypted
messaging
service that is not for profit. It was the first of its kind, right?
Yeah. How does that survive? Like, I know he explained it, but so there are no ads.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's just donating for it to stay alive. Is
like
that
Wikipedia? Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that Wikipedia? Did you all get that message?
I gave him $5.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It worked.
I use it all the fucking time.
It's true.
What is $5? We have a Patreon where we ask people to donate $5. Wikipedia has all the information in the world ever, possibly at your fingertips.
But is Wikipedia just people for free providing the content.
Sure, but where's the content housed?
The
You have to
host. It's
you
the
have
host.
servers and shit. Like our podcast is not free. Even if we had all this equipment already, at the bare minimum, we have to pay the host to keep all the, you know what I mean? So, and then again, once you have more, you have to pay
Servers,
more. That's it.
But they don't have editors. I don't understand them.
And what? They've just been running at a loss all these years? Like
Who's running at a loss?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
No.
So I just
Well, think
why,
about it.
Why all of a sudden?
No, they do this once a year.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's a
okay.
pledge
Yes,
drive,
yes,
just
yes.
like college radio does it twice a year.
Gotcha. I thought this was the first time ever because
No,
of COVID.
you might have just not noticed it, Simon, because maybe you didn't use Wikipedia for a week.
Yeah.
You know, when they blast it out or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
and this
yeah.
week you just happened to check it.
Yes, I understand. Yeah. I gotcha. No, it seemed. I thought it was. I thought they were like hurting all of a sudden, and they were like,
No,
"We
no,
need your help now."
Every year it happens.
Pledge drive twice a
okay,
year, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, I didn't give them anything.
And again, I was just some of the way I look at it is, what's $5? I throw $5 away on so much frivolous shit that I look at something like, if I use this,
On behalf of the podcast.
I won't even
right?
notice. Yeah, sure,
I mean,
that's true.
I
Think
can
about
think
that.
of better people to give my money to. I guess. Could rather give it to some startup podcast than Wikipedia.
We couldn't have the movie
you can
game
give it
without
to both.
Wikipedia.
I could give it to both. Huh?
We couldn't have the movie game without Wikipedia.
There you go. On that alone, we owe them $5 for the year.
Why use IMDb?
I don't like to do that because I use Wikipedia.
Well, you have options.
IMDb has ads, and we don't like to. I mean, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
It's Kamar's not using Wikipedia because he's like, this is ad free, you know?
oh, I'm well aware.
It's suspect. That's all I'm saying.
What is suspect?
This Moxie Fruvius, whatever his name is.
I don't know.
I
if
find it
it's
so
suspect.
weird how a guy with white dreads who's like, just seems like super cool, you're very, very suspicious of. But Donald Trump comes along and you're like, this is my guy.
I'm
Because
suspicious.
Donald Trump is what he said he was from the beginning.
I'm suspicious of the 14 days at sea with a bunch of kids,
Yep.
and he wasn't really a camp counselor, and who was fucking driving the train, you know?
So you're back to everyone's a pedophile.
No, that was just a weird fucking moment.
It was weird.
Well, do you think you'd bring up your pedophilia on Joe Rogan? Like,
No, I
well,
don't-
that seems.
I don't think
That's what
you
I'm
would.
saying. Weird flex, right?
Unless you're like just, you're so into it that you just forgot where you were for a second, you know? You're like, Joe, that reminds me of this one time at band camp, and then you're like, oh shit.
That reminds me of this kiddie fucking boat trip I took. Whoa, sorry.
No, it was if I was those kids' parents at this point, not that he's a pedophile, but I would just be like, we left our kids with a crazy hippie who obviously had no business.
Hold on. I would say that I would be more shocked after the fucking near-death sailing story that I sent my kids out with him than that.
Well, they weren't on that trip.
No, but that happened after.
My point
Oh,
is,
that's a crazy story.
It's a highlight of the podcast.
It's
for the record too, I die. I'm a terrible swimmer. Zero cardio. I die.
yeah,
every
but
time.
maybe at that point, like he said,
Nope.
the
No,
adrenaline takes
You don't leave the
over
boat.
and-
You don't leave the boat.
In clothes.
You don't leave the boat. Absolutely, Kamar. I am with you. But the boat was underwater, so that's a
No,
problem.
it doesn't go underwater. It's like they stay. I've capsized boats and stuff like.
I've capsized boats too, but
It takes them a long time.
Yeah, it takes
before
a long time before it fully
them to
submerges.
sink. Like the issue for him obviously was the temperature of the water. Because
Yeah,
that doesn't
hypothermia
matter
will
if you can
fucking-
swim or where
50
you are.
minutes. That's what he had.
Yeah, and it was just it absolutely was powerful. Him talking about it and going, well, this is how it ends, which is a weird way because if you fall off a building, it's 30 seconds. Sorry, 3 seconds or whatever for you to contemplate
10,
that.
we decided was the guy that the jumper from.
It doesn't.
9/11.
What I'm trying to say is sitting there for a half an hour just going over and over your head, I'm dying. No one's going to know what happened. That is a real weird way to go. Like burning death is going to happen faster anyway than that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird thing to have to come to terms with this inevitability that is
And you have to imagine because
50 minutes
the
away.
cold, there's a point where you can still think, but you just can't feel anything. It's not
Yeah,
necessarily
and
a
you're
good
just
thing.
so pissed at that fucking dude. Like, it's not his fault, but you're like, dickhead, turn around.
Yeah.
And then the comic relief of it all is when he gets rescued, and the guy's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
so
first time sailing?
First time sailing." He's like, "No, $600."
I have my master.
Idiot. Like, I think you should have a flare gun or flare
he went out in his
in your vest.
in his civilian clothes. Is that the
like a hot shot.
whatever? He wasn't in a wetsuit. He didn't have anything on him. His phone didn't work.
No respect for the
Oh
ocean.
no, his phone fell in the water. Sorry.
Even then, each boat is supposed to be equipped with, like, if you have your boater's license, you have to have flares on board. There has to be.
And why don't you have a little blow up dinghy in there, like one of those ripcord? You know.
And if you're by yourself sailing in those conditions, there's life jackets that have a
GPS. But this was a long time
signal
ago.
thing on. I guess so. I think those have been around for 20 years. Maybe not a GPS, but like a homing beacon that goes off. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like he went out unprepared, and those parents.
It's a weird thought to have, though. How many other people who have drowned at sea, and everybody has that last,
All those stories unrecoverable, obviously.
It's crazy too that you would. I related to this, even though I've never really. I don't remember like a near-death experience, but the thought of like, oh fuck, I had something to do tomorrow. Like even the most innocuous of things. You know what I mean? Just like. You make up these things in your head that like, oh, I have to live tomorrow because like I had a dentist appointment. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck cares? But yeah, I felt that.
I did. But all that was overshadowed. Like that really was this podcast for me, that story and that realization, overshadowed by Joe's weirdness and the rock, paper, scissors.
Well, I think the phone was a really interesting. I know they've had this conversation before, but just the idea.
That's what I was saying. There's a lot of interesting topics.
That's a broken record.
Digging into everybody. Like we all have the phone. It's not like a leather thing. It's not a vegetarian thing.
No, we are all
guilty
part
of,
slavery.
this one, and we could all change it. Like we could, the same way.
Well, no, they can't make phones without coltan. And coltan only exists in the Congo.
Can they not, Matt?
I believe there's
is that
coltan in
the
Greenland.
most efficient way for them to do it.
Well, 98% of the world's
the other
coltan.
2% is in Greenland.
Fucking Greenland.
I don't know that. I just know that you have a hard on for Greenland right now.
No, but do you know what I'm saying? Like that's what they tell us. And I'm not being facetious here. Like legitimately, if there was like, another option that was more expensive, but if that option exists, it does, because they were talking about those, ethical phones or whatever they were called. So
It does exist, but the whole thing is a scam, because it's not like they build a phone that's supposed to last you 10 years. Like great engineering, you know what I mean? They need you to
like if we
want to get a
never,
new phone every year.
if we never had 4G, 3G would have been good enough.
Every G's been
Like
fine
the
for me.
only reason we need more G's is because they give us more G's.
You say that, but I guarantee you, if you pulled out an iPhone 4 and you hooked up to a 2G network, you would be fucking livid. It wouldn't take you 5 minutes to be like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Because we've had it better.
Yeah, just like
right?
TVs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You
that's
don't
like,
remember
but that's
how
like
bad they
every
were.
single thing in life, Simon. I mean, you could technically still be driving a Pinto, but you don't.
Well, yeah, okay. But if they said like, and maybe this is true, you have to use a typewriter because your computer is killing people, then I don't know. Maybe we should all go back to typewriter. I don't know, man.
We don't do that.
No, we will never do that.
Well, no, actually, that's not right. There
hold
are
on.
individuals who've gone back and go to their...
But like, are computers the same way? Do you need coltan to run a computer?
Every tablet, I don't know about computers, but I'm pretty sure anything with like a fucking screen. needs
Yeah,
some
so we're
coltan.
never that's
Unless
I mean,
a
hold
meteor
on.
comes
we're
with
never
hold on.
going.
new
We're never
mineral.
going back.
The other problem, though, was he was saying is you don't even know that the alternative is intrinsically better. Like you could say, let's move back to typewriters, but then you find out that there's iron in typewriters that they can only, that you know what I mean? There's a mine where someone has to go in and mine iron, and that
The key, the
ink is
typewriter
carcinogenic.
keys have to be bent by human hands.
sure, but you know what I mean? But it results in death
Yeah,
in
no,
one way or another
I
anyway. And
understand.
I mean, it was a weird conversation because he was like, listen, capitalism relies on slavery and human trafficking, and there's really no fucking way around it.
I think it's more important if there's going to be a crackdown to make sure it's on shoes than phones. Because that's been going on. That's always a joke, is like, I like these shoes because the little children's fingers does such good stitches or whatever. And you know people are being exploited today to make your shoes. We just accept that. But the phone is way more useful than a pair of shoes, which is just style.
But I guess that goes back to that argument of would it be worse if the shoe factory wasn't in that town?
Well, I just meant the shoes. There's no coltan involved. Oh, to take the jobs away. Yeah,
Right.
That may be a problem.
It's the same idea. It's their.
And if everyone's making 50 cents a week, you can't just pay one factory $5 a week because they'll get robbed when
No,
they come
but I mean,
outside.
that's the same argument as what Matt is saying. You just don't know, right? Like you don't know which one is worse or which one is better because you have to try to see. And
Well, and he was just like, you're never going to track every single thing down the line for every ingredient of everything you use. It's impossible.
yeah, it's
He's
crazy.
like, you don't fucking know. You trust that somewhere along the line there's good people. And his point was is that most of the ways down the line, you are encountering good people who are just trying to do good business.
Just know that 90% of everything is plastic. So in the end,
It'd just be easier to clamp down on shoes than phones, especially because of the coltan factor. But you never know.
yeah.
I mean, the coltan thing, though, is how do you stabilize a country in Central Africa that's had the longest civil war ever?
And we know how that usually ends up when the United States.
But that's
goes
what I'm
to
saying,
play
is
to
the U.S.
fix
would have to
someplace.
go in, stabilize that country, which is dense jungle, might I add. So it would be almost impossible. They would spend so much cash, and then they'd have to regulate the coltan industry to pay the Congo back for 50
You know
years
where-
of rape and pillage.
you
Like,
know
Like
where
going
I
into
bet-
Iraq for oil.
You know where I bet there's a lot of coltan? Asteroids.
Well, that's what I said. Our mining operation. We should patent that.
Well,
patent what? Words?
Space mining, yeah.
which is already, people have been talking about it. Like I'm telling you, they're probably like a couple of years away.
You draw a picture of what it looks like, then we can patent that. In any event, I know what you're saying is interesting. I swear to God, Joe reacting that way it just made me feel away.
Yeah, you still got to take the notes though.
And then the
He felt away and he was just like, fuck this
Yeah.
episode.
no, and then the intention of okay, you're doing this for no profit or whatever, but we know, or I assume that's how all these things start. Like, what did you do wrong that you want to do this, or is it really just this?
like, is
decided
he
to do this.
actually an ethical guy
Yeah.
or is this just what?
Trying to right a wrong he did,
By
something.
working for, because he was responsible for where Twitter is now or whatever?
WhatsApp, Twitter. Like he's
Maybe
a
he has
messaging
a ton
guy.
of friends that sell drugs. And they were like, you know, it'd be fucking sweet. And he was like, I'm on that.
And I feel bad for him because he was talking about how Vice wanted to do a documentary on him. He's like, well, I don't know what the point of that is because I just sit in the screen. You just see me coding. And
Yeah.
like that. Those guys make lots of money, but I don't think I'd ever want to do that.
This guy sounds like he's had a pretty fucking adventurous life. It doesn't sound like he's been stuck in a.
You also say
A
it like that, Kamar.
basement.
You don't want to do it because it doesn't interest you.
Yeah.
Like these guys like this stuff. So to them, it's really interesting. You know what I mean?
It's like the opposite of a athlete, like a human being who wants to run, jump, and be out in nature to the person who wants to just sit there and do nothing.
I got to
But
say,
do so much. Like,
two-
there's no brain power.
2 or 3 years ago, I tried to take like a kid's course on the internet on how to code. And like, I have to say, it's like building a home in the sense that like, you're just typing in a bunch of random shit that makes absolutely no fucking sense. And then on the other screen, you're like, I created it. It doesn't make sense.
But you could see how you could see if someone.
My point is,
Got
I could
good
see how
at
if you
it.
got incredibly good at it, you could feel great validation in being like, in creating a lot of shit.
Absolutely, like
Just
people
from
who are good
sitting
at
there.
math, like doing math.
Sure. I mean, again, I think if you're really good at anything, I don't know. Who knows? I'm not good at anything. so.
Basically, what he's saying is learn to code.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've always been saying as the end draws near. I don't know. It just, the profit thing I didn't understand. Like we said, it's the Wikipedia thing, but we'll see. In 5 years, if Signal's still everything, are you guys going to get it?
I've had Signal for a year.
Oh, right on. There you go.
You're forgetting nothing.
Was it in advertising for like drug dealing though? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and nefarious activities.
I legitimately had never heard of Signal before today or whatever day this was. So I really couldn't tell.
Every time I get that notification being like so and so has joined Signal, I always shoot them a text right away on Signal being like, "Are you selling drugs now?" Because it's just because my list of people on Signal is a specific genre of people.
Who could use Signal? Criminals, terrorists?
Well, I mean, realistically, if if you're the type of person who really wants security, like, again, when you send a text, you're like, no one's reading this. No one cares. This is useless. You might be someone of power or a powerful person who...
Oh, no, I see the use for it, but it...
So what do I got to do to get Signal?
Just download it. That's it. I have it right now.
I download Signal, and it becomes like an umbrella that shields me.
No.
So every time I send a text, I have to do something.
No,
with
you just,
Signal?
when you use Signal
open
with
Signal.
someone who has Signal, that text is protected. Everything else is not.
Sorry, what?
You just open up like any other app and send a message through it.
Here, I will show you what Signal is exactly.
But it's nothing to do with any of your other messaging services.
Okay, see Signal?
Okay.
I open it up.
Yep.
Those are all my contacts.
Yep.
Send a message.
You go in there, you send a message.
That's it.
But that other person has to be on Signal too. It's not like I'm sending a text to Kamar, who's not on Signal.
Well, I don't know. Here, maybe I can send you. What's your...
It's shielding me. But Kamar's still out
shielding
there in
you
the
from
open.
the forces that be reading your communications.
I don't know. I guess that's what people are afraid of, right?
Well, that's what he's aware of because he's worked for all these companies.
Well, again, he was saying, too, you can make phone calls that are encrypted from it, too. So,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but
so
not,
download Signal.
But you have to go to Signal.
Yeah.
Go into Signal and make a phone call.
But you still have to go into your phone in the phone app to make it. You're doing the same amount of steps.
Right.
Nothing is lost or gained, is my point.
And they don't have to. The person you're calling doesn't also have to be on Signal.
I don't think so.
Do you guys remember? I should have written it down. When he was talking about the FBI and the Santa Ana shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they'd gotten in the phone, but they just wanted to see.
They needed the last like 2 hours worth of data, and they had fucked up trying to. I assume
too many password.
Yeah,
tries.
that's what I was going to say. I'd assume that instead of just contacting them and easily opening it up, they locked themselves out of the phone. And I agreed with him totally. And I said this from the beginning: this is how the FBI works. They just use that one fucking. Don't worry about it.
I feel like there was more to it than obviously we knew.
Well, this was more to it than we knew.
Well, either way, the point is like you should be against this more than anyone. Is like the FBI comes along and is like, listen. They've obviously wanted to know how to get into those Apple phones forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how they run their fucking shit.
We know you put a trap door. Just tell us where it is.
Yeah, come on.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and Apple's like, no, go fuck yourself because now you're going to have this trap door forever.
Well, the craziest is like, I think it's maybe the sister of Ghislaine Maxwell's company or something like that. There's some tie in there, and they sell through Israel like some program that everybody uses, all these governments uses, and they uses. Holy shit. And they built a back door into it. So now theoretically they have access to all these different countries' defense programs. Yeah.
My point was just that's enough for me. Having an Apple phone and hearing that story about Apple and the FBI. Like, he asked you about Signal, but you're not going to seek it out, are you?
Signal?
Because do you have to tell someone to get it? You must be able to send it one time to something, right?
What do you mean?
If you write a Signal, you have to know the other person has Signal?
I believe so. Again,
Okay.
I don't use
We
it that
don't know.
much.
That's
Like
what
I
we've
said,
been asking
I have
all the time.
a fairly specific group of people on there, and
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm just, each time you just said, oh, you got Signal? I got Signal. And then started using it.
well, no, because like he said, you get a pop up that says right away someone in your contact list is now using Signal.
And then you can get
Why don't you
Signal
say
right
hi
there.
to them? No. So no, what I'm saying to you is like you already have Signal, okay?
Even I
you
understand
you
this.
have no contacts in Signal. I download Signal. You have my number in your contacts on your Apple phone. It recognizes that and then shoots you a text.
So like,
Could be me.
is that me?
No, it's me. Take it easy.
It'll say in your contacts, you have these 12 people who are on Signal.
Yeah.
Do you want to add them?
Yeah.
I assume
And
something
then every time
like
someone new joins, it says someone has joined Signal. Send them a message to say hi.
But without that interaction, well, that's better because I wouldn't actually want to go on my way to tell someone, get this new message.
And then
service.
Joe, too, again, was so stuck on like his specific, like, Joe, you're the only person in the world with that problem. Well, it sends out because remember he was like, hey, my Signal sends out a text to everyone saying I'm on Signal. I didn't want that. I don't want people to know I'm on Signal.
Oh, I see.
I was like, yeah, Joe, most people in the world, though, are just happy to let everyone know.
It's a good way for it to promote
Well,
itself.
it's the way that you grow the community, because otherwise you have to go in and physically
Precisely.
tag everybody.
It's like a virus.
A step too far.
That's what I was saying. Is
You
I was
already
like,
lost me.
Joe, you're in the 1% of 1%. So that's, of course, everyone hits you up for business ideas. I'm not, when I jump on Signal, it's not like people hit me up like, hey, dude, got a business idea. Anyway, I assume we're done then.
Yeah. Fuck. Moxie Maitland. What's his name?
Marlinspike.
Real name, fake name?
I assume his parents were like some sort of hippies.
Maybe it's his middle name that he brought up when he got older.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Moxie Marlinspike Jordan.
What was Michael B. Jordan's real name?
Michael Barack.
Michael Barack.
Yeah. We'll see if in 5 years something turns out with Signal and it's making all this money or something.
It can't make money. It's a not for profit.
If things change, then we'll see. Otherwise, I guess, the other one that has the credibility of being what it is Minds. Remember the Minds guy was on?
Yeah.
And he just made that open platform, social media, but it hasn't exploded.
So that had ads, though. That wasn't a...
No, I think it's the exact same thing. I don't think there's ads. I don't use Minds enough. It's just so foreign, and like I'm using the apps I use and hate them already. Why would I try to get a new one to hate? Regardless, those 2 points, I give this a 3.
Where's done? Go ahead.
I need my little calculator. I give this one a 2. A 2? A 2.5.
Yeah, your weak rating of a 4
Yeah,
is looking
it's
fucking
bad.
wackadoo.
I'll have to give the last one a higher mark.
I guess 6 or 7.
An 8.
I gave this one a 4. I really like this one. It's a good listen. Obviously, I was the only one.
It wasn't terrible. I wasn't like super pumped.
I have unanswered questions.
But that's the thing is I wasn't pumped either when I saw it, and then I listened to it and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting. And I never saw his white dread, so I didn't have a mental picture.
I think that might have been
The
my
next
problem.
guess I have a mental picture of, even though I didn't see
I guess
him
I'm
either.
just bored of
The social network, social media.
like I get it. I obviously realize it's a problem. I did my best to remove myself from the situation, but like it's like what got played out last year where we were just like enough,
But this one didn't
before
see. That's the
COVID.
weird thing is this one didn't seem like a social media podcast to me at all.
But it was just a big
Okay.
ad for a messaging service, really.
No, I mean, I liked the boat talk. I thought that was fun.
But yeah, okay, sure.
Super interesting. But the rock, paper, scissors thing was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah, got a little,
I'll
got a little
do-
awkward.
I'll
Let's
do
there.
go. Let's go. One time. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Best of 3.
No. One time.
Steaks.
We're not
One
doing-
time. One time.
We're gonna play 7. It's gonna be a gaming podcast now.
Yeah. Simon's ruined for the rest of the
Stupid
day.
rock never fails.
All right,
Should have gone
let's
with Simpson logic.
let's move on. 1570.
I figured he for sure would go with Simpson logic,
And that'd be the rock, and you'd cover it with
and
the.
I'd cover it with the old paperoo.
No, I've never been defeated.
That is such a lie.
1573. Matthew Yglesias.
Now this was a weird podcast.
Yep.
Joe was weird in this podcast.
Couldn't believe Joe had this guy on.
Wait a second. Joe was weird because he held it together. Didn't like go after him.
Here's a weird thing to me. Vox thinks Sam Harris is like a problem. So how can Vox not think Joe Rogan is a huge problem?
Well, he talked about it when he said about going on Ben Shapiro, whatever. Like this is
I
sort
guess
of
this
what
guy's
he
a little
does.
different. Yeah, I get it,
He
but
puts
still.
his foot across the line. But it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It is a book of clickbait.
I never really got the impression that this guy at all believed a word of what he was saying.
I don't know. He's a
Because
a blogger.
Look, we're in the middle of a pandemic where you don't want to be like next to people.
I don't think he wrote the book.
No, I know, but it's like
It's just a book.
it's just even more reason to prove that his stupid 1 billion people or 3 billion or whatever the number was is crazy.
1 billion people in 80 years in the United States, he thinks should be something they work towards.
Well, he would want 1 billion people right today if he could have them.
But Joe asked him what the timeline was. He said 80 years. That's what he's expecting in his book.
This guy is like a COVID factory.
But you were staring at me.
The population in 1920 of America was 103 million.
Bravo.
Now, 100 years later, it's 331 million. I think 80 years it'll be at 6.
He said if they
600
grow
million.
at the rate that Canada is.
But I think inevitably, without anything, it's going to be 600 million people.
He said that after, like 20 minutes earlier, being like, look at Canada. Small, no one there, useless country. Don't do shit. It's like,
Perfect.
oh, cool.
And his reasonings to have 1 billion people is to fight China
Economically.
economically.
Yeah.
Which I don't think will. Like, and it's over 80 years. It's one thing if you say we're going to have 1 billion people here tomorrow. But do people fucking and it lacks immigration?
No,
to
but
see
it
what,
just
like,
didn't make any sense. Like Joe pushes back and he says, how are you going to feed these people? And he says, well, we don't have a food shortage problem in this country. Yeah, we know, because look at the way that every corn, meat, it's not the way it should be. They need more space to do the things they should do ethically.
But
And probably healthfully.
Is your argument that they don't have enough space right now to do things ethically farm-wise in the States? Because that's just not true.
Well, why?
They have, I mean, Simon, if you look at the States, it's a vast country with so much fucking open land. So, do you know how many states are empty? Population and stuff-wise? I mean,
he
it's
deducted
staggering.
1 billion people still wouldn't be as dense as Great Britain is.
Or
I mean,
France.
I've
That's
never
what he
been
said. Is
there.
France? France is much more densely populated than.
There's enough space. That
Oh, more
is
than enough.
not the issue
More than
here.
enough.
And I think will eventually happen, barring extinction event, a worse pandemic. Like inevitably there'll be that many people.
Well, I don't get it. So there's enough space, and yet they have the chickens piled on top of each other.
Yeah, that's correct. We could be doing it differently. That's the point.
Absolutely.
So it's just a
It's just a
square footage
monetary.
issue.
Well, it's
yeah,
your
that's it.
property. It's an asset.
Yeah, I know, but I get it. Free range chickens are going to be more expensive. But just having maybe a facility where they're not like literally
Yeah, just crammed
mounted
in,
on
yeah,
top of
sick,
each other.
sickly
That's
chickens.
efficient for the industry.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not going to you're going to argue for this guy? It's ridiculous.
Argue for I'm just telling you why there's factory farming. Like I get it. Like it's just cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for it or against it.
Well,
It is what it is.
I mean, Simon, keep in mind though, as wrong as you think this guy is, like Japan has a problem right now where their whole population is aged, and they don't have they didn't do enough to get people. Like I'm always a big alarmist. Like there's too many people, and in reality, this guy's actually kind of right. We should be fucking each other more. The only problem is dumb people are the ones fucking and having 6 kids.
Well, I think people are, risk adverse, to lack of a better term, to make kids with an uncertain future. Or they're just the way it is, you know what I mean? That's the biggest thing I can control. But what I said at the beginning, it's going to be at 700 million in 80 years. So, I mean, I don't think it's provocative, this book. It's just clickbait. I think some people look at this book saying, like, be afraid that there's going to be 1 billion people. And then it turns out that he wants 1 billion people. I just thought the whole book was clickbait.
You bought $100 book from a guy named Jesus.
It's $45.95 online.
that money could have gone to Wikipedia.
There you go.
But I feel like you guys would be like, we would want to avoid 1 billion people.
I mean, look, so it's not a factory farming issue.
I just don't think having 1 billion people to keep up with China is the right attitude. I think if you're going to have 1 billion people naturally, like you said, I'm with you.
It's just for productivity and capitalism.
I'm with you. In 80 years, the U.S. will double, most likely. So they're going to be close to 1 billion anyway. That'll happen naturally. I'm with you there. I just don't think you should actively be seeking it out to keep up with China. I mean, I think I agree with him in the immigration sense. Like, and Joe, I don't understand why so many Americans are anti-immigration. You're not Native American, motherfucker. Someone came over on a boat.
And there are jobs that some of you don't want to do.
Most of the jobs you don't want to do.
But
Shut the fuck up.
We have the same problem in this country, so it's not like we're
No,
looking
and
at them.
I'm not shitting on the States. There's so many Canadians that want to shut the borders too.
I wonder what it would be like if there was no immigration.
If you could just go anywhere you wanted, whenever you wanted.
The problem is obviously the social programs and who they cover with that. You know what I mean?
Of course.
If you're
Well, and especially doesn't work in our country because we have,
Socialized
medicine for all.
but our country, if you get over here, you get taken in that social program.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. So what happens then? There's like
A free-for-all.
coronavirus in the States. You get all these people from like wherever, New Hampshire, who just decide, you know what? We're heading up there.
But keep
I
in
would
mind
head down
too,
there,
like this is the thing we're forgetting though, is like, so let's say 3 million people just come in out of nowhere that speak English. Let's say they're not even trained, but they at least speak the language.
They're humans.
Or they can speak English or French.
Fine, sure, or French. The point is those people are gonna they're gonna try to get jobs and pay rent and pay tax. You know what I mean? There's not gonna.
And if there's
gonna
3 million millionaires, that's fantastic.
Well, that's great. I'm just saying it's not necessarily that we look at it like they're just going to come over and suckle off the teat. That's not always the case. A lot of people come and immediately
but
start working and start a business, that sort of thing.
The argument from those people is like they're coming and taking a job that in hard times we may need, the people who live here, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a ridiculous argument.
But
too.
more of those people will make for less hard times. I think you'd have to make new cities or something, but he sort of skirted around traffic. There's big urban areas that don't have the problems, but it's just like...
So what happens there? Like you have these places like, Los Angeles and New York that are already so packed. When you get more people, do they all want to live in those popular places, or does then you start spreading
You
out?
have to make a new
Well, the point is
super-
now,
you
though-
build more roads and you do,
Well, the point is now is with the internet, especially with this fucking pandemic, I think we're realizing that like business doesn't have to be done in a major hub. And like we could immigrate people here and they could live in butt fuck nowhere. They wouldn't have to live. First of all, I don't understand how an immigrant can show up and live in New York City. The rent is insane.
Sometimes they show up and live in Minnesota, and the weather is insane.
Oh, that's
Remember
fuck-
what
I totally don't understand that either. That's nuts.
I think New York makes sense because it's got the most opportunity.
Well, and I think a ton of people live in like New Jersey, outside.
Listen,
and then
dude, I also
do
knew
their
people that
work.
lived like 9 people in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Like, when you talk to like a cabbie in New York,
Yeah, for sure. They live in Connecticut.
they
live in
always
fucking- I get
live
it.
somewhere
Yeah.
else, and they like wait until all the traffic dies down every night at like whatever 7, and they know it's going to take them 35 minutes, or I'm making up a number here. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
you are.
2 hours, so they know they're going to get home to tuck their kids in, and then they fucking get back up the next day and they go and they do it all over again.
Sometimes you listen to podcasts at normal speed or sped up speed, and it's better. This was worse. I don't know if you noticed his voice.
Oh, his breathing.
His voice was very whimsical, and I spat out my lunch when he said he was married to a woman. And I'm sorry, that's just my prejudice.
That's just mean.
No, what did you initially think?
I didn't think
I
he
didn't
was
think
gay.
anything, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't think he was gay.
It is
There was nothing about him that was like
not flamboyant, happy, and
do
giddy.
you hear my voice and you're like, I can't believe that guy has a wife.
No,
Yeah.
I hear your voice and
Fuck
go,
you.
that guy slings D all the time. To the opposite sex.
No, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't like his voice very much either. But
Shocked
then I
he
have
was
to stop
married.
myself and I'm like, hey, Simon.
I was absolutely
Mocha.
shocked.
Take
he
a
was,
step
he was
back.
married. And I guess
What?
that just makes me a hateful person.
Yeah, man. He's fucking killing it in life and you're not.
Do you like the sound of your own voice when you listen to
is
this
killing it.
podcast?
He has a great voice.
Yeah, but I hate my voice.
Well, you have a good voice too.
I hate the things my voice says. But I like that. I like the voice.
Kamar, we
I like the
all
voice.
hate the things your voice says.
I like the voice a lot, but no, it's not
It's
coordinated.
the
with
content. It's
any
not
good
the
thoughts.
volume or the pitch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good, Kay. I like that.
I swear to God, I just thought it was clickbait. It's,
Well, that's fair. Listen,
selling
you're
a
entitled
book.
to that.
No,
It was 100% clickbait.
There's no point. It's the internet getting a book form and being sold on Joe Rogan. I feel like he pushed back on him again.
And it made Joe seem like a prick because he had to push back because this guy was like, it's like you said, it's right there in your face. You can't just, oh yeah, another billion people. Let's do it.
But this guy was more like, well, you'll have to get a dirt guy for that or whatever. Like,
And then Joy said, then Joe said, we have a fucking topsoil problem. You know how many cultivations we have left? 50 or 52 or whatever it is. Like
the way we're going right now.
that doesn't fit for your 1 billion people. So if you're going to do that, you have to take into account that we only have this many left. And what are you going to do to make sure in your whole equation here? Otherwise, it's just a science fiction book, you know?
This was a fun, lighthearted book about 1 billion people.
China has the same amount of topsoil, and they have 1 billion people.
So maybe they have a solution, though, is all I'm saying. I have no problem. Look, if they want to have 1 billion people, fine. I'm not going to live there. You know what I mean? But if you're going to, Joe was right to say, look, this is one of the issues that you have to bring up. And he didn't have an answer for it. I don't even think he had ever heard of topsoil before, frankly.
Yeah, but I have an answer. Like my answer right there is like China has the same topsoil problem. They
Yeah,
already have 1 billion people.
I'd
so,
love to know what their solution to it was.
well, they don't have one. That's the point. Is like
well,
throwing the
that's a
same
problem, then.
throwing the same amount. No, but throwing double the amount of people doesn't change how many harvests you have left.
No, that's true. It doesn't.
That's all I'm saying.
Maybe they're using human excrement to remake the soil or whatever. Like,
But 50 harvests with this many people is 25 with twice as many, right? Like
No, it's not, because that's what I'm saying. Is like it's the same amount. You
you need to grow more vegetables for these people to be around, so you're going to need more topsoil.
Yeah, but you're not growing in the same place, Simon. It's not like I'm throwing double the corn in the same land. If I have double the people, I have to till different topsoil, different land that isn't being grown on, right? Like that's the point you're missing. Is I'm not. If I double the amount of people in the States, it's not.
So they don't have enough topsoil because they just haven't dug it up somewhere else?
I don't understand.
Well, I believe it's the nutrients that are in the ground will be lost after 50 whatever harvest it is. None of us know clearly.
Yeah, because that doesn't make any sense.
Why? You'd end up with like a dust bowl
Well,
if
if
you
you
till
have-
the land enough.
No, I know, but if you have all this, look, if Idaho, sorry, I'm just thinking of some state that doesn't
Potatoes,
have a
yeah.
lot of people in it.
That's a good one.
They must have a lot of land,
Farm, yeah.
land that could be made into fields.
But I think most of it is farm. That's the problem.
Are they saying that we only have 50 left on the fields that are now being used, but we could just make more fields?
I don't know. We got to check
I
this
don't
out.
think so.
Well,
You'll have to get a dirt guy, like this guy said.
we have to get a dirt
A
guy.
bunch of
What are we doing here?
morons we are.
And
Anyways,
with anything else he defer to, I'm bullish on technology fixing it. Much like I always do with the real problems. It was just a clickbait book he was selling. It was inches. I thought there was going to be a blow up or whatever, but stay on the rails
there almost was.
with Bill Gates.
What was the Bill Gates thing?
Well, Joe defended Bill Gates. You just turned that part off, or didn't decide to hear any of that?
I mean, listen, I'll mocha Bill Gates. Like,
Well, yeah, the
I'm-
more it goes on, the less I have. Like, I guess he could do this. I do not see what he gains.
Look, TMP, right? For sure. There's such a thing as too much philanthropy. There's also such a thing as
Hold on.
you have a
Only
lot
you
of money.
decided there's too much philanthropy.
No. I mean, I coined it, but that's
yeah,
so that's
and
what-
I used
that's
it
a
for
thing.
Moxie.
Yeah. No, I mean, maybe, yeah. Maybe you're
There's
right.
an abuse of his
No,
term.
maybe you're right. Maybe
You're not
right.
using it the right way.
Anyways, what was I saying?
Too much philanthropy.
Why hate Bill Gates or defend him?
Bill Gates, right. Like, look, it's weird that he's in trouble with all these countries and nobody talks about that part of it. he could be just an altruistic guy or maybe he just saw a really good business investment. I don't know.
Can I also ask you, are you certain he's in trouble with all these countries? Or did you just read it or hear it on a podcast?
I mean, I'm not certain of anything ever, Matt. I mean...
No, I'm not asking you to, Simon. I'm not even calling you out. I'm just saying is like the things that we hear, like that's a good example is like, I'm just saying is I've only heard you say them. So I also am now like, oh, he's he's done all these things and other, but then I think about it, I'm like, well, I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
And then it just made me think like, well, wait, does Simon know this for sure? Or is
I
it,
know for
Bill
sure
Gates?
that his dad
yeah.
was into like weird eugenics stuff.
But how do we know that as well? I'm just asking
like
the questions.
That's like a
okay,
fact.
fair enough.
I mean, as much as like, how do we know that fucking JFK was assassinated? I don't know.
Well, we watched it. That's a
Okay,
little different.
well, pick
a
something
bad
else
example.
that you believe that like you haven't seen with you. There are things.
Okay, that's why. Listen,
That's crazy.
Bigfoot.
No, not Bigfoot. Don't pick anything. Okay. Anyways, his father was into eugenics.
But I was thinking like the son
he
wants to be different
started-
from the father.
He into the whole Planned Parenthood, and we know that was like, and we don't know. Anyways, listen, I don't think it had the purest of intentions. I think it was there to like,
well, Planned Parenthood
make
does
sure
abortions.
that black people weren't having babies. If you want to get right to it, but
It's like I thought Donald Trump was the great white hope, and I was just a scumbag, and I thought Bill Gates was an evil guy, and maybe just a dork.
maybe that's it. I mean, maybe.
It shouldn't be called Mocha. It should be called Maybe.
Well, Mocha pretty much is maybe.
I know.
So anyone could have written this book.
Anyone could have written this book. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically where I was at. Like,
I actually ghost wrote this book, Kamara. That's why I'm bummed you're shitting all over it.
But like
hey, man, you can do better.
Anyways.
It's to defeat China, and I don't know. Like, I think ever since that NBA thing they were talking about, I've been like sort of fuck the NBA. But I guess that's just LeBron James, and you can't say
No, it wasn't LeBron. It wasn't just LeBron James.
they're all just
The
in
Houston.
chorus.
Well, no. So there was one guy from the Houston Rockets that was like, "Fuck China. The fuck are we doing
Well, no,
here?" And then he immediately they were like, "Take that shit
It
down."
was the
Don't-"
GM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I understand
Well,
that, but
And then LeBron came down and was like, "I don't know why anyone's talking about China. We should just be minding our own business."
No, at
and then
that
2
point-
months later, it's like, "Black Lives Matter, motherfuckers." It's like, dude,
Yeah, exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
exactly. Well, and I look at that as the whole NBA. If they're all in chorus saying, "Yeah, China's good. We like to play that."
Well,
What
that's
is
my-
China's sport?
What do you mean? What is like their national
Well,
sport?
that's what they're saying. Joe was saying. So if Chinese loved watching our sports and we
Table
had
tennis.
1 billion people,
When they're changing movies,
guess.
though, Hollywood movies, that's when you know. Like, that's the sign of the times.
Yeah, but see,
were they talking about Doctor Strange in this
yeah.
one?
But
Is
yes
that-
and
is
no.
that thirsty?
Just the thing is, it's Hollywood cares about money.
Yeah.
And
So
the
if the
NBA
biggest
cares
player,
about money.
that's what I'm saying is these guys, all they care about is the bottom line. So if
Yeah.
the biggest player in the game comes and says, "Hey, listen, we got a problem with that," I mean, it's gross. I
And
agree.
there's a problem when a foreign entity
Yeah, I agree.
is the biggest player in your game, because it might not just be movies at that point. That just is a microcosm for it's a power structure, right?
and he thinks that
Oh, you disagree?
I'm not saying I disagree. I agree. It's a power move for sure. But what I'm saying is like the U.S. had been that guy forever. They were the biggest player in the game. And do you think that they didn't try to like silence certain people from making or change certain narratives in movies and
I
stuff?
guess. I mean, would I rather have my own people screwing me or another country? I guess it's the same thing, right?
But that's what I'm saying is it's kind of a weird, like we just don't trust them or like them. So we don't want them to have control over, but I mean,
Well, if all the money was here, then all the things would be made here. I mean, that would, a lot of problems would be solved.
they wouldn't have to worry about China's economy supporting them if they had 1 billion people.
They don't even come into the conversation any more than France or Russia or whoever else. You know what I mean?
I mean,
as a
but China could
foreign
be at
body.
3 billion by
but
then.
the fact that
at the end of the day, Hollywood are pussies because if they did just put the movie out with the Tibetan guy, China would play the fucking movie. Believe me. Mm-hmm. Do you think China's just going to be like, there was no Avengers 3?
well, it probably goes a lot.
They're the biggest bootleggers in the world.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. It's true. Nobody has the balls to see it play out.
They are the superpower. You
It's
know
like
what
the
I mean?
dictator. Like Simon, did you see that there's going to be an HBO documentary on the dictator that's coming out like next week or something?
What is The Dictator?
That movie, the James Franco, Seth Rogen movie.
That's The Interview. The Dictator is.
Oh, sorry, it's Sacha Baron Cohen. Yes, The Interview. Sorry.
That's been out.
Start again. There's a movie.
There's a documentary on
coming
HBO
Yeah.
coming out about the interview.
out about the making of The Interview.
No, about like its release and how Obama was involved and the Sony hack and like this and that.
Well, yeah, and how hard it was to make, I bet. Because wasn't it like a huge pain in the ass for them to film there? And
Film
No.
where?
I don't know. Were they not in fucking
North
Korea
Korea?
at some
No.
point? Not North
Not
Korea.
North
I
Korea.
would have thought like South Korea or something. But why bother? I guess you're right.
Is this going
Just
to be
need
the movie game?
Well, and then they talked about Quentin Tarantino, and I was going to do Reservoir Dogs, but maybe the interview's better.
No, Reservoir Dogs is better. The interview will be impossible because we don't have a release.
And it got fucked up
Yeah.
release and it got banned in places.
yeah.
But
Can't do that one.
Did you
But
guys
wait.
see it?
Yeah.
Terrible movie.
It's not
It had
terrible.
moments.
When they're playing
Those two
Wins a
guys
Change
together
Wins
are
a Change,
fun.
Wins a Change.
I don't remember that.
Fine,
It's
but
the
Simon,
song of the movie.
I don't remember.
Simon,
You didn't know Wins a Change.
I didn't know when to change back. I did, but it meant nothing to me at the time, so I have no recollection.
all
Sorry.
I'm saying is like, as far as those guys in a movie together, still fucking.
Yes,
yeah, you
but
can say
I
like it
just-
had moments.
I
Fine,
It was
whatever.
all right. It was all right.
Those two guys have chemistry.
It was all right.
Did you watch any of Big Mouth?
I hated it.
Because of the trans stuff, obviously.
No.
I knew you were going to
Whoa,
come out here
hey,
and say
yo,
you hated
Yeah,
it.
whoa, hey, that's not why. It seemed really like trying to gross you out even more than before
I only watched one episode. I laughed my ass off.
with the
So you didn't find it funny.
no, it was funny.
You
but
can't help but think John Mulaney is funny. His voice.
no.
Like, he's the best.
It just wasn't my favorite season. How about that?
Oh, you binged the whole season?
Yeah.
Well,
So I liked it,
You can compare.
obviously.
Yeah, it's good
Well,
enough.
I don't know. I mean, you finished.
Had to see
How
it
about this?
end.
You finished it.
I finished it. It
well, you
doesn't
didn't
mean I
Queen's
liked
Gambit
it.
that shit.
I didn't Queen Gambit it.
It's the movie game where Simon and Matt go head to head. Find out what year a movie came out, the budget, and the box office. And I picked Reservoir Dogs because I mentioned it. What a great movie, right? The combination of soundtrack, dialogue, and
So
graphic action.
I saw Reservoir Dog, Pulp Fiction, Double Bill at the Mayfair. I
Wow.
had never heard of either of the movies.
What a
before.
great fucking. That's wonderful.
Talk about having your
That's
mind
wonderful.
blown in one
That is
evening,
wonderful.
right?
Reservoir Dogs was the first movie?
Yeah.
that
Dude,
has
that's
to
great
happen.
too because you go out and smoke a joint and you're like, fuck, that movie was fucking
After-
incredible.
after Reservoir
Yeah, and you're like,
Dogs.
oh my God, this
I'm-
is just blown away.
I had never seen a movie like that before.
And then you go back in.
and had your mind blown. Dude, it is the most fucked up double bill ever.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have to be a virgin, and I had never even heard
Have
of
you
Quentin
done that?
Tarantino. Like,
Have you done
it
that?
It was fucked.
Have you done that with your son?
We have.
Can we do that?
We've watched all the Tarantino movies.
Like, did you do it that way?
No, he watched certain ones. So I don't know.
Because we
favorite is Django.
we rented the Mayfair for Jared's birthday.
Yeah.
We should rent it out for a double bill, for like a Quentin Tarantino double bill.
It's interesting.
I know it's not as good as for seeing it for the first
Yeah,
time, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
In COVID times?
they just block off shit. It's fine.
Well, what an amazing
What
body
did they
work.
do?
We love
by
the
way?
Tarantino.
How did that work?
There's like 2 seats here, then a long strip of tape for like 5 seats, then 2 seats, long strip of tape. But like it's a huge movie theater, you know what I mean? And
They need the money. Let's hope Tarantino gets on here.
I have a year written down.
Oh shit!
I absolutely do not want Quentin Tarantino on Joe
Starving
Rogan.
Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Chris Penn, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Turney, and Michael Madsen. Wow, how people have ended up after this, eh?
Chris Penn.
All right.
Take those fucking cars, get them out of there. It looks like Frank's hot car lot out there. That's one of my fucking favorite lines in the movie.
Oh my God, I tried to watch when I was a kid. One of my favorite movies was Best of the Best.
What movie's that?
It's a martial arts movie with Chris Penn, Eric Roberts. I wonder if anybody. Oh, the coach is Darth Vader.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Or the one that the English guy, the tall Englishman that died last week.
I think somebody else is in it too. Anyways,
Darth Vader.
it's so bad. It was like unwatchable.
But you loved it as a kid.
Loved it. It was
your
like
ideas
my
change.
fave,
Your ideas change.
Okay, so sorry. Year. I don't even.
I already have a
know,
year
man. I don't even know. It'll have to be.
Distributed by Miramax Films. There was a time when anything from Miramax was, when they show the production company, oh, this would be a good movie.
Well, it was Harvey.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Do I go first thought or do I go second? Okay, go.
All right, I had 91.
I have 94.
92.
Okay.
And so it came out in 92 at Sundance in January. Then October 9th, 92, released to all theaters.
Cunt. Wait, January of 92?
One of my favorite movies. That's 93, sort of.
Oh, sorry.
Sort of. One of my favorite movies of all time.
I got Madonna's big dick here in my left ear.
The most quotable movie. R.I.P. Chris Penn. Congratulations to everyone who went off. I think Steve Buscemi or Tim Roth the most successful, or Harvey Keitel.
The most successful actor in this
who's
film?
a bigger actor? Who's since
Harvey Keitel. Oh, since that movie.
I did not know anyone except maybe Chris Penn when I watched this movie as an actor. I'd never
My favorite
seen
though is
him
Michael
before.
Madsen.
Well, he hasn't done well for
No,
himself.
of course not. He looks bloated as fuck. But he is one of my favorite, like Quentin Tarantino movie actors.
That character
of all time.
or
just
many
all,
roles? Yeah.
anything. Sorry, give me a sec here.
I think it's between Tim Roth and Steve Buscemi. Because Steve Buscemi's in every Sandler movie. Like, he's Fargo. I don't know.
Keitel is such a classic Tarantino character.
He's the best actor.
He might be.
I think he's the best actor.
Mr. Wolf. Who's when he's the cleaner?
Yeah,
That's such a great fucking role, man.
Oh, you're sending the wolf?
It's 2
Why
seconds,
did you say so?
but whatever.
I'm not saying who's the best actor of all those people, because that's even a harder one. I just the most successful, like, who made the biggest.
I can tell you who the worst is.
Quentin Tarantino.
Thank you.
Of course. With
And I like him in his roles, but he's definitely the worst actor.
Why the fuck would he give himself an Australian accent in Django?
Yeah, that's the
Don't-
weirdest.
don't.
That's the weirdest.
You guys are petty.
Okay,
fuck
anyways,
you.
can we go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What do you got?
I just threw numbers out here. I said it cost $12 million to make, and it made 29.
And I said 10 and 31.
Wow, you guys really highballed him. It cost $3 million to make.
Holy fuck! What a magician!
How the fuck?
What a magician!
First of all, how do you get that cast? Even
All
at
the
that
script.
time, they must have been paid in peanuts.
They were nobody actors.
Literal
You're forgetting.
peanuts.
You're forgetting too, though. Like even
This is what I'm talking about.
you're forgetting too. Even Pulp Fiction, he had to go to John Travolta and be like, "I'll give you points because I just can't pay you whatever you want."
How
much did it make?
$2.8 million.
It didn't even
It lost
recoup
money.
its cash.
It lost money.
Well, no, we know that it made it back in the DVDs and poster
Somewhere
sales
down the
and
road,
shit.
but it just goes to show you.
2.8.
Are we doing the double bill?
It's the most fucked up. A double bill, double movie game? No, but we're playing the real movie game. And we're going to start off with Steve Buscemi.
Airheads.
Airheads. What's that fucking guy? Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, buddy.
Encino Man.
Pauly Shore.
I don't know why I gave you my elbow. We're in the same fucking
It's
room.
fine. Don't worry about it. I know why. Encino Man.
He
Oh no, I said Pauly Shore. He said Encino Man. I said Pauly Shore.
Biodome.
Stephen Baldwin.
Oh my god.
Well, that's easy.
Oh, The Usual Suspects.
And now that opens up Benicio del Toro.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Johnny Depp.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Keira Knightley.
Bend It Like Beckham.
Oh, fuck.
That was unfair. That was really unfair.
I was like,
Total
this is going
dick
so
move.
good.
Yeah.
We're having such a good time.
I just can't think of another Keira Knightley movie. I hate that bitch.
Hold on a second.
Ouch.
There's nobody else in this movie. Oh, no, wait. Who's the main guy? Shit.
Just say Hugh Grant. No one will call you on it.
No. But he is from... So, sorry. You said what?
Bend It Like Beckham.
So I have to say an actor from that movie. Yeah,
Correct,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm never going to remember his name. I could tell you another movie he was
Isn't
in.
he the guy
or
from
another
Who Framed
actress.
Roger Rabbit?
Oh, isn't it Clive Owen? Is that who it is?
No, I thought it was the guy from
He might be passed away.
that tennis movie with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh. Didn't he
Eric
play
Bana?
Captain Marvel or something?
No. Anyways, game
Captain
over.
Infinity.
We're done.
Game over.
Sorry, Simon
that-
lost.
Foreign film.
that one fucked
And
me.
that's the movie Game.
Games.
Back to Yglesias.
No, I think we're done with him, aren't we? Did you have more?
It was just, I hate it when people are selling a book. But what I'll give this guy credit for is he basically told you what was in the book. There's never a point where he said, well, you have to read the book to figure that out.
Well, he didn't have to tell you anything. The name of the book is
next
there.
episode.
It's everything's in the title. There should be a billion people here. Boom, give me $50.
And I think there will be near 1 billion people regardless of this guy's book.
And I don't think he thought that Joe was going to be as
Welcoming?
confrontational, I guess. So good.
Oh, I
for
disagree.
him
He's from
that-
Vox. I think he
so
thought
he
Joe
just
was going to
knows.
come in firing like a la Adam ruins everything.
Oh,
Well,
yeah?
my jaw dropped when I saw that he was a Vox reporter.
I couldn't
even
believe it.
understand what was going on here.
So sorry. Why? What is Vox left? Like, what is that? What you're saying?
Yeah.
See, Joe's not. He doesn't not like the left.
He is the
No,
left.
you're missing my
He's
point.
the middle, more
Simon,
than anything.
I don't think that Joe wouldn't have someone from Vox on. I would think that Vox would absolutely never go anywhere near Joe Rogan's podcast.
It was just an odd
right.
marriage.
Gotcha. Because everybody would say, "Why are you going on there?"
I bet he'll be fired next week.
That's interesting. That'll be an interesting development. If he really just crossed the line, I'd give this
And
more.
then he'll Tim Pool it and be fucking,
if
he'll
that
be
turns out
super
to be the
right wing.
case. But I thought Joe let him off easy because he's just suggesting 1 billion people and why. Like, it's not.
I mean, he's not.
He was a harmless guy. Yeah, I mean, all Joe wanted the guy to do was get in shape.
There's nothing
He's
to
not
debate.
out there like preaching something that
Is that hair in his beard
people are
driving you
gonna
crazy
go
too?
out and do, and it's gonna hurt them. Like it's me.
Oh, you got it. Thank you. It's been 1 hour of me staring at that beautiful woman's
It's almost
hair.
like it's just Captain Obvious, this book.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I just thought, I didn't love this podcast. I just thought it was I was like, oh my God, a Vox reporter, this could get fucking
I would
ugly. And it
never
really
read
didn't.
this guy's book. I would have never known who he was. Sometimes you get somebody and it's great, and you're like, shit, I found somebody new. And sometimes you get this podcast.
If I had YouTube comments, I'd think I'd find a lot of people who thought like I thought. But they've taken that away.
Is that what you're bummed about?
I don't even know what that means.
There's no more YouTube comments. So
That's
you can't
the-
even see what people are feeling about Joe's.
That's the real Joe Rogan review.
Oh, on
Because there's
Joe,
no
on
Spotify
Joe.
comments.
there
It's
are
just
no,
simply-
right? You don't know something I don't because you pay more money.
There's no. You know what's crazy though is so you said you have no ads on. You don't pay for Spotify, right? And you have no ads on Joe Rogan's podcast. Nope. So this is crazy. I was on a Reddit thread this week. People in the States are like, "What the fuck is going on? I pay for Spotify. I pay $10 a month. I have a premium account. Why am I getting ads on Joe Rogan's podcast? What the fuck is going on here?" And they're like, "I don't get ads anywhere else. I'm super fucking pissed. This is not what I paid for." They're fucking up big time.
Who's fucking up big time?
Spotify. You can't listen. If you pay for a premium
I
service,
should have ads.
Yeah,
he should have ads.
I should have ads.
Shut up.
No, but that's what my
But
comment
that could be a
was.
Canadian.
I have
hold on.
ads.
That could be a Canadian regulatory thing. There could be something there. I don't know.
I
I'm
got ads on all the rest of the.
see. That's weird.
No, not on Spotify. I mean, on like,
Okay, not on Spotify. Okay.
where else do I see ads?
But
Like
see, if
on
you're-
YouTube, I see ads.
Do you listen to music on Spotify?
No.
Okay. I'd like you to this week. Just listen to 10 songs in a row if you don't mind. See, tell me if you get an ad. Because if you don't, I'm going to be livid.
I don't pay for it, and I found it seamless to use.
But you get ads.
No.
Yeah, no.
During the Joe Rogan show,
No, there are no ads
No.
at the beginning. It goes right
something comes up.
into the.
There's stuff that comes up, like
What comes up for
something
you?
you could click on,
No, I don't have.
but it
any
doesn't
click-ons.
interfere. It does. It's not a.
I got
there's nothing for me
I
at
got
all.
No,
Zero.
I got no click-ons. I wonder if I'm being charged somehow,
Or you're paying.
Well, maybe
some family
Halima
plan.
signed you up for a family plan.
or maybe I signed up and never took myself off, and I've been paying for it all this time and just not using it. That's all a possibility.
No, because you purged that shit like a year ago. I know because I spoke to you about it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. You were like, Halima and I went through, you wouldn't believe what we're paying for. We got rid of everything. And you like, because I remember being like, well, how do you not have this? And you were like, we got rid of everything.
Anyway,
Okay, well, let's rate them.
I give Matthew Yglesias a 2.
I'm going to match that too.
And I will.
couldn't give it more.
Give it a 2.
Well, we have an agreement. You said it wasn't good when we all
It
agreed.
happens. It happens. It happens.
All right. Well, that being said, we're going to pay a quick bill. We're going to try to sell you something, and then we'll be right back.
You're gonna try to buy it.
Guys, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp.com. What interferes with your happiness? Are you feeling depressed? You feel anger? Maybe it's anxiety, stress eating away at your life. Maybe it's a self-esteem issue. Do you feel like there's something preventing you from achieving your goals? I know for me, I had a wicked drinking problem in my 20s, and it would have been nice if there had been someone there to help. Luckily, I overcame it, and I can tell you right away, I feel much better. That's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own professional licensed therapist. It's so convenient. You can connect in a safe and private online environment. You can usually start communicating with someone in under 24 hours. So that's good. You'll get that timely and thoughtful help that you need. This is not a self-help website. It is professional counseling. You can send a message to your counselor at any time. As well, you can schedule weekly and video phone sessions. We know that during COVID, the last thing you want to do is be going into a doctor's office, sitting in a waiting room, putting on the mask. No one wants that. That's where BetterHelp is perfect. It's all done online, super convenient. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and they offer financial aid, and they're available worldwide, which is wonderful. There's also a broad range of expertise available, which may not be available locally in many areas. You never know. You may live in a rural area. They may not have a specific type of counselor that you're looking for. So that's where BetterHelp also comes in handy. They offer licensed professional counselors who are specialized in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, self-esteem. Guys, you name it. That's a lot of checked boxes. Anything you share is, of course, confidential. The website is convenient, professional, affordable. They do have testimonials on their website if you want to go check it out. They have so many people using BetterHelp right now that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. So also, if you're a counselor and you're having tough times during COVID, maybe head over to BetterHelp and see if you can get yourself a job. You never know. If you want to start living a happier life today, as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/JREE. Join over 1 million people taking charge in their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JREE for your 10% discount off your first month. Guys, go check them out. Thank you so much. We're back for Simon's Wet Dream.
1574, Jacques Vallee and James Fox.
This was a good one. I don't, we all hate just to get the negatives out of the way first, and then we can talk about all the good stuff.
Interesting.
Nobody likes when you say you got to read the book. We all agree that that's just not a great play. So I get it. I get it. But I would just rather you not talk about that stuff at all then. And
that's a good cut him up off of the pass.
That's so I didn't like that. And there were a couple of times where Joe was trying to get a piece of information and Jacques just ends up on a tangent to something else. And thank God James Fox was there to
but
bridge
Jacques'
that
accent, though.
gap, because he just seems way more credible than like a guy like Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah.
So,
that duo, definitely.
So when he says, like, you know, I've interviewed this guy, I don't know. I find he represented himself better as like the third party, but I thought he would have been great on his own. So
better than Jacques Vallee on his own.
And Jacques Vallee. No, I think he probably helped Jacques Vallee there. Maybe Jacques Vallee on his own, and Joe is just. I think
he was the play-by-play. Jacques Vallee was the color commentary with the book. I guess they worked on it together.
It wasn't a book. It's
a movie,
a documentary, and you should watch it if you haven't. Either of you, it's on.
I don't want to pay for it.
Apple. I mean, I think it's like $4.99 or something.
James Fox made the
documentary. I gave that $4.99 to Wikipedia,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Jacques Vallee had a book.
No, these guys.
Jacques Vallee has many books. He has a book coming out in 2020.
But these guys worked on a documentary together.
The Phenomenon.
But you, at the beginning, said you have to read the book. I know that's a problem.
That was the book that Jacques Vallee was talking about that comes out in 2020, where they're going to discuss these medals.
Exactly.
Which is kind of what everybody's waiting on. They made this announcement in the New York Times where they said, we have these medals. So that's what Joe was trying to like get Jacques Vallee to say, right? You know?
Yes, I listened.
We have them.
And
Tell me about
He
him.
cannot
We
sing.
got him.
And he was like, yeah, we have them. I can tell you this little bit, but if you want the rest, you got to wait for the book to come out.
Which was very frustrating.
A little frustrating.
You know
That's
how old Jacques Vallee is?
Probably like 84.
81. I thought he sounded great for his age.
Oh no, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And that guy has lived like a million lifetimes, you know? He's done so much.
I used to slay pussy all over the world looking for the aliens, Joe.
Isn't it-
Sometimes in the laboratory, sometimes outside, but always slaying the pussy, Joe.
Isn't
Constantly.
it cool that he was the scientist in
Based on.
No, well, he was actually in
Close
Close Encounters of the Third
or
Kind. He
yeah.
plays a scientist.
Oh, he's in it.
Yeah, but he was also like, you know, when they get a cop to come on to a cop movie to
Yeah, to
he
a
did,
consultant.
Yeah,
And he played an
used
extra.
him.
For an astroscientist.
And he played the guy who
Was it
was
Spielberg?
based on him, I believe. Or no, he played one guy there. Spielberg. Yeah, what did I say?
You said Lucas.
Oh yeah, I meant Spielberg.
But Jacques
sorry.
Vallee is a computer scientist. He's enamored with aliens and stuff.
Yeah, he's in Silicon Valley. He's an AI guy, isn't he?
Well, I mean, as opposed to what?
No.
There's no alien.
I'm not being
degree.
critical.
No, I'm saying
Not
though,
yet.
There's no like all of these guys are something else, a physicist,
Or a kook.
or just
Or
somebody
Jeremy
who
Corbell,
studies
sorry.
aliens. Well, he's a movie director.
I guess.
He did all sorts of movies before he ever touched on the alien subject at all.
I thought that the whole time listening to this is like, this guy is way better than Jeremy Corbell. If, as the way I took it, being presented, like Jacques Vallee was, here was something to tell us, and this guy was helping him. But I totally agree with you.
Well, like
James Fox is way more interesting.
The Zimbabwe children's school there,
School one,
that has always been my favorite UFO encounter story ever.
That's your proof.
I love it. It's just, I don't know. There's something about the kids and I don't know. It's very cool. So the idea that there's a whole documentary coming about that is kind of neat too.
Simon, I was struck with an idea listening to this. Very mocha. I'll throw it by you. You might think it's ridiculous. What if all these different aliens that are visiting, so what if each species on Earth was brought here by a different, so like there's beetles that occasionally fly by. They're in the pill. That's the beetles because there's so many beetles on Earth, right? Like there's exponentially more beetles than any other fucking species. Maybe the cheetahs come by every once in a while, fly by just to check, and they're like, oh my God, they're fucking slaying us down there.
I don't get it. Sorry, what?
Like all the aliens. So like maybe like think about, so we think about it like maybe aliens came down and just created it. That's what you think about. Maybe they just came down and created everything, right?
Okay.
So maybe it's different. Maybe like one group of aliens came and dropped a human seed, and then another group of aliens, cheetahs, for example.
We're all aliens.
Everything on Earth is an alien. So cheetahs also can also fly, and they came and they were like, okay, we're going to drop some cheetah DNA off here, and we'll see what happens there as well. And maybe they're all just checking up on us. And again, the other ones that are checking up on us are like, my God, the humans are crushing everyone now.
Because we are just a petri dish.
I thought you
in
meant
the
like
universe.
each different alien dropped off a different race of humans.
No, I meant dropped off a different species of animal.
Animals, gotcha. Kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, how the mice run the
There you go.
program and the dolphins
That's
are
it.
here because they only want the fish, but they leave before the
Kind of like that.
Vogons
Yes.
come and build a super highway through Earth.
Do you hope there's a giant spacecraft in the ocean?
That idea, listen, all this ocean stuff, like if you don't think this is just propping up what I've been saying all along, that it's just underwater space.
I agree. I've agreed with you all along.
But
That's the
no,
stupidest
I mean,
thing I've ever heard.
I mean, Matt, you're just going to be proven wrong. It's crazy that you would say it's stupid, but whatever.
Stupid.
Well, okay, explain it to me again. So water is space.
No, okay, sorry. I'm just being hyperbolic there. I meant like,
The Expanse.
yeah, it's just this.
There's
The
so
same way
much.
we can't really track anything that's going on in space, we're obviously not able to track anything that's going on in the ocean. So if you had this massive spaceship and you had to, hide it somewhere while you were on Earth, that would be a pretty convenient place to do it.
So what makes you think
because
we can't track anything in the ocean? Just out of curiosity.
So deep.
I just
so
I just
expansive.
don't think we are.
But we have sonar.
Well,
Like, how do
apparently
you- but,
it's not getting deep enough.
But all those submarines that are constantly cruising around, all the countries they all have sonar. They're all pinging constantly.
Well, I think they are picking up a lot. Same like they've been following these UFOs for a long time. The military has, and just not telling us about it.
Yeah,
They've
that's
also been following underwater USOs and
Or if it's so big, it just reads as surface. Real big.
well, I don't. Is that how that works? I still think it reads.
Well,
on
if it
the
just kept
radar.
pinging off this thing, it was like, I guess that's just.
I mean, again, you could argue that alien technology could just make itself read as whatever it wanted anyway.
or absorb.
If you're going that
There
far.
have been many sightings and things revolving around the ocean. This isn't a new thing.
I like
Yeah,
it.
but that's an unfair. There's more ocean than land, so you're gonna
That's
see.
why.
And again, there is more ocean than land, and maybe a lot of the action of these UFOs is going on above and in the oceans, and we just what we're seeing when we catch glimpse of them over land is like that, the kind of like the Bigfoot, right? If you're only catching it for that brief second, maybe it's because that's the only time they're actually visible.
So maybe Bigfoot's a swimmer. Maybe he lives in an
That's-
underwater cave, Simon.
That's
Mocha.
not a terrible idea.
No, I was confused. There was a time when they're talking about the satellites, like why can't satellites get more footage of this? And they have to like turn them off over certain countries. Mm-hmm. Do you remember them saying that?
Well, I think they were insinuating that they do get the information. You just, even if they had it, you're never going to see it.
You don't have access to what those satellites see.
Let's talk a second about the craziest. To me, the craziest. And I know we already kind of knew this, but it really hits home for me, it really hit home. It's insane that he's like, so even the president can't access this. So who has the clearance? And then you got to wonder, it's like, what is the president if there's people above him or people with clearance above him?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the president elect is whoever writes Joe Biden's teleprompter. You know what I mean?
Don't make this a fucking political thing. It has
I don't-
nothing to do
I don't
with
mean it-
who the president is. He's talking about a certain situation
Okay, sorry.
or an overall situation.
I'm so
rather.
sorry. I was frustrated by that too.
By what?
Well, the president can't even find that. And then, so at the end of the day, is there a groundswell of people, 100 million people have to demand?
Well, I think that really goes to show you, though, that like there has got to be. We talk about it as like jokes, this powerful group that is actually running the government. But like that should show you right there. The person who you believe is the most powerful human being in the United States doesn't have the permission to see what other people are allowed to see.
Well, I don't get it too. If you're the president, you appoint the head of the CIA, don't you? Isn't that one of your? Can't you do that?
Well, it might not be the head of the CIA who has the right to see that stuff either.
It's got to be the military.
We don't know who
it's the
it is.
military.
I assume it's the some sort of military branch.
Dude,
But that's what I'm saying. Is it's insane that the president, the most powerful person in the world,
Not the most powerful
Yeah,
person in the world.
exactly.
Yeah, it's just all for show.
yeah,
Well,
placeholder.
what do other governments
Well,
know?
but that is a good point. Like presidents come and go, right? So if you're only in for 4 years and you get all that information and then you go, like maybe that's just too many loose lips sink ships type of deal. And if you don't show them anything just across the board, you never have to worry about that.
I mean, I would have argued that's ridiculous until his boy got in, and then I guess now I'm looking at it like maybe that makes sense.
Well, exactly, right? And you certainly don't want these guys to be able to leave, again, take this.
Especially not this one.
not to mention they all write memoirs. I don't think a president has left office and not written a memoir.
Right. And you can't have them like having something that's worth something, to then use to get government to sway their way, I guess.
I think too, maybe after FDR, because he was so a part of the war, and his whole military industrial complex. Maybe after that, they were like, we don't want these guys we don't want anyone who's served to fucking be president. We don't want anyone who knows how the sausage is made.
TMI, buddy.
We,
TMI.
yeah, we'd just rather a suit who can just say what we need. And
But I mean, look at Jimmy Carter, right? Like that, when he was a congressman or whatever, he pushed through some serious UFO disclosure. He wanted, because he had his own experience. And he was like, we have the right to know. And he was trying to get all this shit released. And then he became president. And not so much, you know what I mean? So that goes to show you, that's a guy who had like a vested interest in UFOs.
But if we're taking what these guys are saying, and we're assuming the military are these people, right, over the CIA,
Yeah.
that they're like, you can't handle the truth.
I just don't get it. What, like, short of showing me a body, you're going to show me a bunch of photos and I'm just going to take them at face value? That seems crazy. I've now got the most powerful seat in the room. Some guy's going to walk in with a folder, show me some photos, and I'm just going to be like, okay, yeah, you're right. It just seems, I don't know.
And you're not going to talk about it.
No.
You're not going to say, I'm not allowed to see this
Are you
stuff.
saying if you're the president?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd want to see the fucking UFOs.
But they,
I want to see
That's
pictures.
what I'm saying. I'd be like, listen, like, this isn't enough for me.
No, you'd be like, take me to or to whatever, Area 51 or wherever you're housing the stuff. Let's go see them.
we can't handle the truth. That's the bottom line, right?
Well, do you think we can handle the truth?
No.
I don't.
I don't think we can handle the truth.
I don't-
And I'm a guy who like loves aliens, but
I don't think it would move the meter.
dude, you are fucking insane. If a giant 2-mile wide spaceship appeared, like cloaking device gone, and it just
if that shit
appears
shows up, it's
over
end of
New
days.
York City, you don't tell me that that's going to turn the dial.
Well, in New York City, someone will have a T-shirt with that on it.
That
but
will turn the dial.
That would turn the dial. But the government saying we have these metals, we have no idea what they're made out of, will not
Well,
turn the dial.
it obviously
That's where we're at right now.
It hasn't turned the. Well, it has. I mean, people are excited, but like nobody is freaking out, and we now know that they've been watching UAPs for a long time. You know what I mean?
Do you think whatever the information is in its totality to this date, right?
Yeah.
That
The
there's
phenomenon.
there's something in there that the public can't handle. Like, I don't think the military is holding on to something. They're holding on to something maybe really exciting, but not something that is going to shatter people's beliefs as we know it. I think that was where my disappointment is.
So what do you need? What do you think we need for that? Like actual
I think
aliens?
you need your 2-mile thing. Yeah.
Well, maybe not a 2-mile thing. What if they found a UFO, like found a crash and had bodies inside?
If
That's
they were,
probably good enough. No, that if we could actually see the aliens.
I feel like, I don't know.
if they were communicating with the aliens.
The weird thing to me is the idea that they crash. That to me is where I get lost. That they have
that
this
sounds
like,
sort of bumpkin.
it really, yeah, it does. Like it sounds like they're so past that. You know what I mean? Like this alloy that you can lift with one hand, and like the ability to make maneuvers that just make all of ours look so ridiculous. Like it seems like crashing is just so
It
beyond.
would have
the
to be alien error.
I don't
It's not
know.
going to hit another.
They could
hit
have
another
been
space
shot down by something other than humans.
Sure, and I think the argument too, though, is like
Another alien?
my argument would be anything that does go down. Like, think about what we do now. We mostly send drones. That's the first thing we send. We never ever send people first, ever. The first thing we send are drones. So there's nothing to make me believe that what they're sending that's flying around here isn't anything short of just drones.
Super drone.
And even then, even the things that you see walking around, the little like people, there's nothing to tell me too that those couldn't be drones. Again, just trying to collect data. Like if you're that far advanced, way past where we are, there's nothing that says you wouldn't have an autonomous little walking drone that would just fucking.
Oh, you're saying the drones are alien?
Well, yeah, I'm saying like whatever these aliens, these UFOs we're seeing, there's.
Well, we've talked about that before, that the Greys are just a android or something sent down to do the work, and you know.
But again, I wouldn't even know why you'd have someone up in the ship. Like that's what I'm saying is if you're that far advanced, you would just send out 1 million of these fucking drones and ships to go scour other Earths. Like
Well,
that's
who said there was somebody up in the ship? Like, why is there
well,
even a
sorry,
ship?
I was just well because that's what where do the Greys come from?
Oh, they would have had to come from ships, right?
Most likely,
yeah.
right? Unless
Yeah.
they're like teleporting or using some sort of black hole
Dimensional.
Well, no, because if they're a robot, let's say, they would send out this like drone ship, millions of them, like you said, from just to scour the galaxy, and they'd each be equipped with, you know, a crew of 10 Greys.
Sure.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
That still works.
If the
Still work.
powers that be release that they know that might move the meter. But I don't think anything they have does. Unless they're communicating, that'd be huge.
Well, I mean, moving the meter for sure would be something like finding out that there's actually a federation.
The meter would be moved.
There are multiple alien races that we've been, you know,
Yeah.
in communication with, and there's a whole kind of subplot that was going on the whole time that we were oblivious to, but now we're oblivious. That's so much more important than the actual plot that, you know.
I feel from the way this podcast started to where it ended, it was a huge cock tease.
You thought you were going to get something?
Well, it seems so much
Have
more
you
credibility
seen-
without Corbet.
Have you seen those pictures that they were talking about of the photo taken from the cockpit?
No.
It's interesting.
It's all interesting, but it's like they were like, we're out of line where I think you basically know everything we know. We need to find out. They have to be pressed to tell us. And I don't know what moves that meter.
What do you mean?
What is the pressure to be to release the information that we all desire, that we feel is being withheld?
Well, aren't you curious?
Of course.
He is. That's what he's asking. What needs to be done to get
I
it out?
see.
That's what he's saying.
They were talking about the New York Times article that
Well, I think you're going to start, you know, but they said it. It's not going to be this one dump disclosure. It's going to be a little bit and a little bit. They probably have like a game plan that they're following that they've deemed as the acceptable way to slow drip release this information so you don't end up with like, you know, people deserting their religions and, you know, mass chaos.
Yeah, okay, that's sexy talk. They have. That's what they have.
Well, that would make sense to me. I think that's probably what they're doing.
You can't handle the truth.
Listen, if I had to guess, Kamar, if I was like a betting man, I think this is the bet I would take. That To the Stars Academy, Tom DeLonge is actually a CIA operative, maybe without even knowing it. But they are using him to... That's part of the disclosure release. That's because what
that's a real
he
soft
wanted
launch.
to do, his whole plan was like from a very altruistic, virtuistic thing. He was going to, you know, make this company that was going to do entertainment to help. It was all to help people absorb this disclosure that was on its way. And he was going to, you know, get samples and this and that, which they have. I mean, they are definitely pushing the needle. They have all these guys who come from the military.
Unveiling program.
You look so sexy when you talk alien.
With that passion.
And anyways, so I mean that would be my. I think that is the first part of the slow release. You know, that's how they get the kids. But then they can't have nobody like older is going to believe Tom DeLonge. So they have to, you know, do other stuff to the New York Times article. That's how you get people like my dad to look at it, who I found out, by the way, is like super open-minded when it comes to all of this stuff. I never would have guessed.
I don't.
You guys have a nice schwitz, talk aliens.
No schwitz, but we had a fucking crazy alien talk.
I don't think it's that people have closed minds, that they just don't care.
Well, they
But
don't.
you
They
know
don't
what I
even
mean?
know. Like we know about the New York Times article. I think most, you know, your common person isn't thinking about aliens at all.
Yes, I agree.
And that's not going to happen until there's like probably like a big event
Yeah.
or a very slow mass build to the point where they, you know.
So this
it becomes
podcast gave you
irrefutable.
optimism in that we're on the road and whatever pace they have to unveil, it's coming.
I think it's coming.
Is it moving fast enough for you?
I think it's fast enough. I mean, yeah, I guess because I don't want the giant ship to show up. I don't think that's a good thing. Like if that really happens, I'm trying to imagine. That's when I put my like get out of Dodge.
That's when Simon's Tim Poolmobile fucking.
This is what I'm saying, Maddie. Like, if it's not then when? Just to make sure, you know what I mean? If everything's cool, I'll come back.
But that's based on the big ship.
That's the giant ship.
Freaking everyone out.
One little ship.
Is here to attack us and kill us.
Well, we got to assume, Kamar, like legitimately, if these things wanted to do us harm, they would have done it. They could have done it at any time. When they describe these ships jumping from here, you don't think they have a weapon that could fucking blow you up in the blink of an eye?
What if they're super advanced, but all they can do is keep warming up the planet? They thought we'd be dead already, but they just, okay, well, I guess we'll turn up the notch more.
I'm with you, Simon. It's like what I said last week, though. That guy was talking about, he's like, listen, if you see a bunch of ants in your kitchen, you're going to crush them. But if you see a bunch of ants outside just on the sidewalk, you have no reason to bother them. I think as long as we're just here doing our thing, they don't give a fuck. They're willing to just observe.
Yeah, and I told you it was shooting that nuke into space where they were like,
yeah, that probably alerted them to be like, okay, well, now we'll start paying closer attention.
Right.
But it's still, we can fuck them up whenever we want.
No, I'm agreeing with you there, because if they wanted to do it, look,
we can't do anything.
There have been cases, obviously, where people say they have been taken and they've had things shoved up their butts and all sorts of bad stuff that the normal person probably wouldn't want to have happen to them. But there's been no, this town was attacked, government's overthrown. Like, if they wanted to do us harm, real harm, they could do it at any time. So the idea that just right now, it's all of a sudden a threat, that's the wrong reason. Like Jacques Vallee said, that's the wrong reason to be looking at this. But if that's what they need to turn the needle, because that's how the fucking U.S. government runs, is on military, then so be it. Like, as long as it gets the job done.
But you said if you see the big ship,
yeah,
you're getting yourself and running for the hills.
I'm getting my family.
And I'm saying, from what we know, if we see the big ship, there's no reason to freak out.
But I'm still going to hedge my bets. The same reason I wear a mask, Kamar. Maybe it doesn't work, but why wouldn't I wear it? Maybe the aliens are out
to kill us. I was watching listening to an interesting thing about the Aztecs, which we never talk about too much, but they're just as cool an ancient civilization as any. And how it took 60 years for the Spaniards to destroy them.
Do I not give the Aztecs their due?
No, we don't. I didn't say you.
Oh.
Well, I don't give anyone their due.
No, but we rarely, he hasn't had an Aztec guy on in a while. What the point was, like, with the help of other tribes, they eliminated the civilization, but it took 60 years, which is weird.
Do you think 60 years is a long time for a civilization to last?
I know it's not a long time. It's a quick time for a civilization to disappear.
Right, yeah. They didn't have a long run. That was the length of the Aztec civilization.
No.
Years.
It took the Spaniards, from the time the Spaniards got there, it took them 60 years to wipe them out.
They were what they were.
That's a very long time.
They were what they were. And they were really advanced.
So what happened then? Because didn't they wipe out like the Mayans much faster through disease? So
no, but they used disease and other tribes. Like
the Aztecs are the Mayans.
The Aztecs.
Well, I think the Aztecs predate the Mayans, don't they?
What I'm saying is they're the same people.
Well, I don't think they're the same people.
But even like where the Aztecs were, the Aztecs were still not the only game in town. There were other.
The Olmecs.
Like when you say the Aztecs, it's not like this group of people that's one of many.
Well, I don't think the Aztecs and the Mayan existed at the same time.
But other civilized, it was big. It was big, like Grant Hancock has said. Like there was a lot.
A lot of cities. I get it.
And the Spaniards had disease and other tribes to get rid of them. Like it took 60 years. I mean, I'm sure you could eradicate something much faster now. But is it greed or ignorance to destroy a beautiful civilization like that? Like that it's left in ruins? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's my only fear with aliens.
That they'll leave us in ruins?
Or what? I don't know what they'll do. But these guys said there's no reason they would have done it by now.
I know, but
they can disable nuclear missiles.
We didn't do that. The Spaniards didn't show up and hover around in their boats for 100 years and then decide, we're wiping these. That's my point.
They did it from the
man.
get-go.
Yeah, they came and they wanted the place and they took it over. These aliens, like we have records of them hundreds and hundreds, like thousands of years. Who knows how long they've
So
been
there's
coming
no
here.
reason to freak out.
Well, I just
Hedge your bets.
listen. It all of a sudden the giant ship showing up. It's a little different. We haven't seen that yet. You know what I mean? So
want the Earth
I'm
to be
gonna
flat.
hedge
I want
my
that
bets.
ship to come down.
But another UFO showing up, another Tic Tac. I think there are so many of those that are going on all the time over the ocean.
But if it crashes, you got to be like, okay, who is this fucking jabroni?
Well, the crash, that's the most interesting thing. Like that really got me thinking because I'm like, okay, so I got to work out a way. Why would this thing crash? Right? These are
Because they don't run on gas. It's not like you ran out of gas.
Intuitive. So I think it goes back to what I said
Texting his girlfriend.
to Kamar. Look, if there are UFOs, why aren't there different clans? Why aren't there different sects? Why aren't there different species? Maybe how often do we find crashed UFOs? Not very often. So in the big scheme of things, that percentage is so small. Maybe it is like they got shot out of the sky by I don't think our weapons do anything against them, but maybe they do. Maybe it was like a mistake where we
Sure, maybe they
shot
hit an
at them
asteroid or
and
something. I don't know. I don't see how you
maybe
do
they
that.
hit
but
an asteroid. Well, who knows what the problems are in space travel?
But it's like a human nature thing to assume they'd have weapons. Like if there's a federation to think, oh, they fight, they disagree. Like it's just we're putting our human characteristics on them.
It is. But
it's true.
They need space lasers.
no matter who you are, whether you believe in, whether you are a warring nation or not a warring nation, if you're going,
You actually could be past that though, Simon, where it's all defensive to the point where you know that nothing can do you any harm, so you don't have to do any harm.
It's not a thought.
That's it. There's no. Because think about that, Simon. If you know that you are invincible, right? You don't need any offensive weapons. You can just walk through
It's totally
with
human
impunity.
because we are not invincible.
well, I guess it depends on what your mission is, right?
Of course, but I'm just saying, let's say you're a truly altruistic society, you've gone past all the fighting, right? Mm-hmm. You're so past that all you do is create defense. You no longer create weapons of war because
Well, why
like
would
judo
you
defense.
even need to create defense?
just on the off chance that some outside but again,
Well, then that would be the same reason why you would carry a weapon.
no, it wouldn't because you're again, you would.
I think if it's out there and it's super advanced, the fighting and bickering.
Like if you're going on a canoeing trip, let's say,
you bring bear
if
spray,
you're a peaceful person, you don't want to hurt anybody,
you're still gonna bring.
but
bear
you're still
spray.
going to bring something to protect yourself
Bug
in
spray.
case, right? Like that's just a wise way to.
Well, no, but it's like
I
Kamar's
guess, but
saying.
maybe
But it's like
it's a
Kamar's
human
saying.
thing,
When you
yeah.
go to the woods and you know there's mosquitoes, you don't bring a gun to fight the mosquitoes. You just bring bug spray because you know that if you bring the bug spray, you don't have to kill all the mosquitoes. You can just walk around.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you see that he's torn though that they're gonna get us? That no, there's no reason for it to get us.
Well, no, but I mean, again,
I'm
I'm with
just a
you.
practical
I'm with you
person.
where I
Well, it's
think
one or the other.
I'm with you where he's doing what every human does, which is we're putting our own emotions into something.
Yeah.
You know, I have the dog. I do it all the time. Like, oh, I know what Chico. He's a fucking dog. I don't know what the fuck's going on in his head. I'm putting my own human emotions into what looks like is going on in his,
Yeah.
and it's fine. It's like I said, it's very human what you're
But
doing.
you have there's just as much chance of them being ultra human in their thinking as
course.
there is them being nothing human in their
But
thinking.
Simon-
so
100%.
your argument doesn't.
No, but
really
hear me
work.
out.
What am
But
I
stop,
arguing?
it does
What am I-
because
what am I arguing?
If we've evolved far past this, like we're better than we were 500 years ago as humans. We're not as fucking as vicious as we're not drawing and quartering people anymore. You know what I mean? There's things that we don't do that we all recognize as morally unjust, and we keep pushing the line back. There's nothing to say that 2,000 years from now we won't be totally past violence, racism, stuff like that. Maybe who knows? Maybe we'll never get past it. But let's say the society, these aliens, maybe they've been around for millions of years and they've truly gotten past all that. That's what I'm saying is also think about the possibility that they've traveled to the edges of the universe and they know definitively we are the top dog. See, we don't know that. That's an assumption we make. But like, if you've actually traveled to every single planet, every star, everything, and you go, we're the best of the best, then you actually do only need the bug spray.
I don't know if it's necessarily I don't know if good and evil is a human thing, okay?
I don't either. Yeah.
So if it's not a human thing, if we're just part of a much bigger, universally cosmic thing, then good and evil could be something that transcends the whole universe. And so when we say that's a human way to think, it might not be a human way to think. It might be a
I don't think it is, though.
astral way
But
to think,
we
which
don't-
means that there are good species and bad species. Again, by the logic of what you're saying, which is totally possible, mine is also totally
No,
possible.
I disagree.
Well, all I'm saying though, Simon, is
I
like,
think
we
it's-
don't see good and evil a lot in nature.
It's not
You
there.
just see nature.
Okay, just to argue that point, lower species on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So on planet Mars, you could have also that same hierarchy structure, where at the top, good and evil exist.
But what I'm saying though is you could also have it where at the very top, good and evil don't exist, just because. I mean, it works
totally.
both ways.
Maybe we
like-
haven't reached the pinnacle for humans, even of.
Clearly, we haven't.
My point though,
or
Simon,
maybe we have.
My point, though, Simon, is I think the assumption you should make, you don't have to, but I think the assumption one should make is that if you're advanced enough to be flying, to be doing what they're doing, coming from where they're coming from, because it's obviously outside of our galaxy, then you'd have to be around a really long time. Again, that's just an assumption.
Yeah.
And that you would evolve past kind of because again, if we do make it 2,000 years past here, there's no way we're not going to look back at us and be like, this was Neanderthal shit.
That's crazy to think about, man. Like, baffled.
Baffled. We may, we assume that it works like we start here and we end here, and that's the
I
evolution.
don't know. I think there's ebbs and flows.
It could be fucking like it,
but not with
This for- this
hold
for
on, with
the
not with
ancient,
evolution so much.
with the
civilizations?
evolution of ideas, of
Knowledge,
structures, of like
wisdom.
Yeah, the problem,
Sure.
but Simon, the problem is now we're getting. See, I would agree with you for sure. The ebbs and flows were because everything was written in like on stone or on parchment, or you know what I mean. It was tough to keep records. Now, it's going to be tough to refute a lot of things. It's going to be you're going to have just definitive shit moving forward from now. I mean,
Well, unless there's an extinction.
unless
event.
there's an extinction event. Again, we're like here we are. This is our timeline, right? And that and everything that's even happened before us takes up such a bigger chunk
the
than
eye.
where we are right now, and yet we assume we are the pinnacle right now.
Do we?
Again, we could be nowhere close to the pinnacle.
Well, I think the whole universe is held together by love, and there is no good or evil. In that, the most evil thing you can imagine is a black hole, right? Just sucks in everything, destroys everything. It's just everything, but it's just a black hole. Like, it is what it is. It wasn't raised like some black holes are beaten, some aren't.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, all of this is so hypothetical, right? Like, who the fuck? Well, who knows what it is?
I think good and
don't
evil
know.
is a human trait.
You do. Okay. I don't. I think that is like a universal thing. But you guys may be totally right. And because I kind of also believe too that if it's a consciousness thing, like really, really, truly a consciousness thing, then we have no idea. It's going to be so
That's closer to the truth.
alien to us when it actually happens and you rejoin the consciousness that the idea of it being human or not human at that point is going to be like, it can't even be a thought because it's going to be so fucking
Because it's a
different.
thought.
I don't even know if you have that moment where you're like, oh shit, this is what it is. And then it's, and you're into the next thing.
What if
Either going into a new body or into the fucking universe.
What if
or
it is
whatever.
just is what you believe?
Well, I better make up
You
my
make
fucking
it.
mind, eh?
Yeah, maybe stay in limbo.
That's why they changed to religion at the last second.
Do you have a soft spot for Harry Reid?
for Harry. I soft spot. The guy like backpedals a lot on. He'll make a statement, and then somebody will quote him on the statement, and he'll be like, "That's not what I said."
But I mean, it
But
feels
yes,
like
I
he's
do.
the guy fighting the fight.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time, also. But I don't know. I don't know who I trust, Kamar.
You trust Jacques Vallee?
I think I do trust Jacques Vallee. Yeah, but who knows?
Have you read any of his books?
No.
Okay. He's not a Graham Hancock to you.
No. Well, no. He writes a lot of books about like consciousness and that idea, and no, I just never read anything of his.
I think if you went to the people who had the Bell Project at the time, they would tell you nothing was of the thing. I don't understand this, Joe. Nothing was wrong.
Yeah.
Everything was fine there.
So let's talk for a sec about Travis Walton, because I think that's really interesting. I
Fire
think
in the
we
Sky.
talked about it a little bit before, but that he got hit by accident, right? Like, so he runs up to that thing, and okay, you don't usually hear about UFOs shooting people. So he gets hit with this thing, and he's gonna die, and
Throws him
instead of
across the
letting him
field.
die, they take him onto the ship and fix him up. And Jacques Vallee made an interesting point. Like, had they dropped him off exactly where they had picked him up, he would have died for sure. There's no way he would have been able to walk back out to the road. They drop him off closer to time. It's interesting. Listen, you could not believe it. You could say that guy's full of shit.
I saw the movie.
But we know there are these UFOs. So again, yeah, maybe nobody's driving them, but maybe there are people driving
What
them.
about though your?
But even then, Simon, again, if you're super advanced, they could be autonomous. Like, again, we're thinking in terms of
Totally.
today's technology. It could just be super advanced bots.
Yeah, totally.
That recognize life.
These people say that they can telepathically.
Well, that too. If you have you can.
So that seems more of like.
But even then, Simon, it could be it could be like a simulation type thing where you're plugged in. So I'm at my job is to plug into an alien drone every day, fly it around Earth for 8 hours, maybe help some people out, maybe probe some people, and then punch my card. The thing goes underwater as you like.
Mm-hmm.
And
where do they go?
Where do who go?
The punch carders, the card punchers.
Well, whatever world we're living in, and I go home.
In Fire in the Sky, what about the buddies in the truck?
Yeah. What about them?
The three of us are out the road.
Yeah.
I get thrown out. You hightail it out.
You just get shot by a UFO.
You
That's
drive
right there.
You drive fast as you can away.
And you are going to question what anybody does at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one, Kamar, because I don't
You're about
know.
to have your whole fucking perception of the world blown, first of all, in the blink of an eye. So I just don't think you can hold anybody accountable at that point. They turn around and go back for him. I think that says something.
I think he said the driver did.
It's shock.
The other guys didn't want to go.
It's shock, man. I think you're like, dude, I'm a guy who loves UFOs. I love all of this. I cannot imagine what I will feel
you'd be
like
the first to shit your pants.
if I see a UFO. Like,
They are your buddies if they
I
take off on
don't
you.
think anybody can be prepared for that. I think it's such a paradigm shift that even like me, who's like ready for it, I'm looking at the sky. I just
You
think
could see-
everyone
Should be
has their
looking
mind
underwater.
blown.
You could see yourself stepping on the gas.
Sorry?
You could see yourself stepping on the gas.
I could see myself stepping on the gas and also turning back around to go help him.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the point is, if you just see your friend get shot by a laser from a UFO, you think you're going to be next. You don't think, oh, they did that by accident.
Well, it's not only that. I think your real thought is like, there's nothing I can do. Like, I just saw something so, like, even if you had, let's say you had
Exactly.
a
What are you
rifle,
gonna do?
like you've just seen something so beyond your scope of knowledge, and it doesn't matter how long you've been alive. You know what I mean? You can't process. Your brain just can't process. Yeah, especially if it's cold. Your brain can't process, so you're left with like, I don't know.
I this is exactly what I'm saying. I think all of these people, these Kamars out there who are like, I'm just going to see this thing and nothing's going to change. I think you're fucking duping yourself.
Let me tell you a story. I was smoking a joint one night with a friend in like a, if you drive way down bank towards the airport, like way past Albion. You get to like the sticks there. I can't remember the fucking. Anyway, we were in one of those abandoned parking lots, like near the Merbleu Bog, not near the Merbleu Bog, but in like, you know what I mean, that sort of area.
Yeah.
Smoking joints, playing music super loud, and all of a sudden, the entire parking lot is lit up like a Christmas tree. And I shit you not, I had like a 5-second moment where my asshole got so tight and cold.
It was a plane, I take it.
Yes, it was a plane, of course. But the way it lit up was like different than anything I had ever seen. It didn't strike me as a plane at first. Obviously, when I realized it was a plane, I played it all cool. Like,
So when you look up at that point, Maddie, and instead of it being the plane that you recognize, it's a black sphere, 100 feet by 100 feet.
I don't know.
I think weak people have heart attack. People with weak hearts have heart attacks.
Oh, I might have a heart attack.
I think
Who knows?
you piss your pants because I think.
I mean, I don't know about pissing my pants.
Listen, when really scary things happen, I think sometimes your body just does.
I agree,
things.
but I also think that adrenaline sometimes will.
Well, you know what? I think we're all going to find out because I think it's going to happen pretty fucking soon.
Well, we live in the capital of a country, so.
Over the Parliament buildings, that would be fucking something. That would be.
How you doing, eh?
Then you got a real problem. Like I was thinking, if it's at New York. I mean, they're focused on New York, at least. That gives me nothing to get out of town. But if they're focused on us.
Well, who knows?
No,
I don't think.
Again, though, you see, here's the problem with the whole.
I'm with Joe. Why would they go to the government?
They've been here for I don't know. It's the biggest building, fanciest building. Who knows? They've been here for so long. They would have done something to us already. That's sound logic. I mean, that's my logic, right? But the mocha to that is there are many different races, and
Well, can we stop for a second?
this one decides that now is the time. Like, it's not just one brain we're dealing with.
Yeah, but there'd have to be a lot of reason. Like, there'd have to be something that we have that they don't have that they need to exploit, or
Maybe it's something as simple as they're building an interstellar highway, and Earth is in the way of an on-ramp. Like literally, that's the premise of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I know, and
it's so human. But again, maybe it's like we don't know, right? That's the beauty.
do though, because there's so much fucking space out there that if you were building your space highway, you would just avoid whatever. Which is again
Not a
the
good thing if
stupidest
they need
fucking-
our children.
The same way there's so much land and yet we build our roads in really stupid places because we have our reasoning, like that would seem really stupid to an ant or to a fucking polar bear or to an alien maybe. I don't know. No eye rolling. That's
No high roll. I
unnecessary.
can roll my eyes whenever I want. You roll your eyes at me, you huff and puff. You know how many huff and puffs I get from you during a show? At least 4. 4 huff and puffs.
4 huff and puffs.
Yeah, that's how many
glad
huff
you're
and puffs I
keeping
get
track.
from you. At least that's a minimum of 4 huff and puffs.
Okay, what else do I got here? Jacques Vallee. So neither of you watched
Hold on.
the
First of
movie.
all, that's your first page, by the way. I don't think you've changed a page, have you?
No, but I think I've hit a bunch of
Okay,
things that
okay.
are on here.
Can we talk
anyways.
about this? Because I'm not sure if they got there. He said that an alien attacked the White House.
Guy was shooting at him.
They said they shot at the aliens.
Yes,
over
the White House. Yeah, sorry, that
They
was
didn't
it. Yeah.
attack the
What,
White
sorry,
House.
yeah.
Yeah. And that they shot off a piece of the fuselage.
That's like the moon landing.
Explain.
You'd think they'd talk about this incident a lot more just in U.S. history.
Well, it's like the battle over Los Angeles. I've told you guys about that. They were shooting at things up in the air.
That was in the 80s?
They claimed it was like Japanese, whatever, somethings, but that it was unidentified flying objects.
This is the most American thing to do, to be on a roof just shooting at a UFO, though.
Yeah.
Well, if you think it's a foreign body, I guess that's what you would do. And then you realize pretty quickly that you're not dealing with a foreign body, or a foreign object, rather. How about the fiber optic tech coming from Roswell crash? That's interesting because that, I've said something like that before. That they,
Guy taking credit for
So-
things he heard on Joe
Something
Rogan.
No, no, no.
interesting
I'm not-
because
I'm
you
not-
said it before?
Take it easy, Si. Come on. We're having fun here.
That's not what I'm insinuating. What I was saying was we've talked about it before. Sorry, I've talked about it before.
You have.
So it's
you have
interesting,
spoken about it
obviously.
before, yes. And it is interesting, Simon, yes.
What is a fiber optic tick again?
What is a fiber optic cable?
Tick. Is that what you called it?
No, I don't think I did.
I thought you said a fiber.
I think I said fiber optics.
optics.
Oh, at Roswell?
This is a Apollo
Yeah.
Apollo.
We got fiber optics from Roswell?
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. That was one of the technologies
Thanks, aliens.
we got from that
My
crash.
high-speed internet is great.
And what did he say? He said even in the government there are 3 levels of secrecy. So there's the secrets that the president are able to get. There are foreign and domestic clearance, and then there's the people who actually make the decisions, whoever those are.
Can you go to school for that job?
No, I don't think so. I think you inherit it like a king. Like the person who takes care of the Holy Grail and then he has to pass it down to his son who doesn't know. I don't know how that works.
And is this another situation like everyone can keep a secret? It's
I
one
don't
of
know.
those things, eh?
I don't know. I mean, that's a great question, though. Is like, how do you get that job? Like, if someone dies, they have to... And is it all just a bunch of really old, shitty white men?
One would assume the way they've been doing things.
One would assume.
Unless it's all like women, it's a super diverse crew. That'd be amazing. And,
Well,
and there's an
probably
alien, as part of
on
it.
the council, of course. I mean, there would have to be. But, okay, so...
That's why they're here. He's like, guys, another meeting? Do you know how long it takes me to get here?
Can't we just
You guys
do
complain
this
about
by
traffic?
Skype?
You know how far I'm coming? I gave you guys fiber optics for a fucking reason.
That's right. They gave us the internet. Now use it, bitches.
Yeah.
I brought these pastries, but they didn't make the flight.
They didn't make it through the Van Allen
I'm
belt.
sorry.
Yeah, I like that South African story. That's
Wait, is there a story you don't like?
Yeah, is there an alien story that rubs you the wrong way?
there are certain parts
I
about
felt you were just...
the certain parts about the Barney and Betty Hill story that I find
You're walking
very
back.
problematic.
You're walking
Yeah.
back.
There are certain parts that I really like, but at the same time, they could just be, if it's a really, really, really well done, like CIA op, where they're testing like acid manipulations and things like that.
man.
I mean, if you really think about it, so they're on this highway. Let's just break it down just quickly. They're on this highway. They're driving, okay? If I'm the CIA, if I'm a young CIA
Trying to make your druthers.
CIA director.
Okay,
trying
you've
to
already
make- trying to make my druthers. Or
You're
trying
the director. You don't have
trying
druthers
do
to
a-
make.
a good job. This is how I would do it. So they're driving.
Mm-hmm.
I would, I don't know, maybe somehow hit them before with the LSD. I don't know where they came from before they were. No, I'm being serious here.
I'm with
Like,
you, yeah. They were
I
at
think
some
they were
swingers party.
No, I think they were at some Thanksgiving thing or something. I don't really remember. But let's say they somehow managed, like they knew they were going to do this to Betty and Barney Hill.
Yeah.
This wasn't
So
a
they
coincidence.
dosed them at the party.
They dosed them at the party. Then all of a sudden they know it's going to be like peaking at like whatever, 10, 15, right? Where they're, you flash a massive light, right?
Yeah.
So you disorient them totally. Then you get them out of their car. You do some elaborate fucking Hollywood type production to get them onto the UFO. And then maybe they're unconscious for a while, which they say they were. And then they're on the UFO. You're just in another set. They're so fucked on acid and shit. Like, dude, I want you to just imagine for a second. Okay, you've done mushrooms. You haven't done acid. I haven't either. I've done mushrooms. You've done mushrooms. There have been some mushroom trips I've been on where reality was not there for a couple hours. You know? No, never. Seriously?
Yeah, I've done hero doses, and like I've always keep in mind, I always feel like that's the thing is every mushroom trip I've done, I felt very much based in reality. Just deep in my own head though.
I agree, usually, but I've had a couple of trips. Maybe it's been the mushrooms, because I don't even think it was a dose. I think I did a normal, I think it was like, the same way you get killer weed, you get a really good batch of mushrooms. Where I was fucked, man. Like, legitimately, when I showed up on those guys LARPing in the back of Expressway, Like, I thought I was in Narnia. You know what I mean? It was so fucked up that at that point, had like they attacked me, or I don't know what I would have done. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, and that was nothing. That was a bunch of guys dressed up playing a fucking game in the park.
Yeah.
So imagine they're trying to dupe you. I just don't think it's so far-fetched, especially if with acid, which I think is even more, you become more malleable than on mushrooms because it's just more psychedelic and shit.
I'll say there's a huge difference between an empty stomach and a full stomach on mushrooms.
That's
in many
interesting,
ways,
too.
and it's very interesting just because there's so many nerves and stuff in your stomach. Like it.
Well, that goes against the whole. They were at a Thanksgiving party. They would have had full stomachs.
Well, whatever. The dosing.
And if it's acid, it's a whole different story.
And it could be something like, it could have been some acid derivative they were working on. Who fucking knows, you know? Anyways,
Not us.
My point is that at that point, they would wake up. They're on. What I always liked about the story, of Barney and Betty Hill was she came back with all this information about like Zeta Reticulon and things that she shouldn't have been able to know. And to me, it was like, well, fuck, she had to get that information from somewhere. But if it's an elaborate hoax, they would just feed her that information while she was sleeping or, you know, fucked up. So she only remembers kind of bits and pieces of it, which would make sense from somebody who believed. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There are a lot of like, that could be the totally true or the perfect psyop.
Could it be the beginning of a leak? Like the process we're in right now.
Right. Exactly, Kamar. That's the first step of disclosure, is to get people. That was the first abduction story. And then after that, you know, there were a lot of fakes because people started, but that also, because there were more fakes, it became more like maybe easier for people to accept a little bit because it wasn't, you know, it was talked about more, it started getting into movies. Like, think about that. So right around then, that's when they started making movies about UFOs, right? As soon as it got into like the zeitgeist. Mm-hmm. So why would they do that? If they wanted everybody to really gradually get used to UFOs, you would start by telling the masses about them.
That's got to be a relief that you can use this as even if it's a fake.
I don't know. I'm really fucked up now.
Even if it's a fake to cover up for
the real thing.
Real thing.
Yeah, so, right. Well, that's all. That's true.
Yeah, I guess there is no UFO story that doesn't excite you
but
or tickle your cockles.
That one has me a little puzzled, I gotta say. What else? The UFOs that are interesting are the ones that they describe as the sphere inside the rectangle. That to me sounds more like some sort of drone.
Well,
because, you know,
again, I think you're using what we have today as examples.
Fair
you know
enough.
what I mean? I think as drone technology gets better, like think
a drone's 5 years from now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I've
Think
seen
of
the
drones.
little ball drone you throw up.
Yeah,
it's like a toy for kids.
And the speed, dude. I've seen little drones that are like,
or I
other
guess
than
it's
the
a
sound.
square and a sphere. I don't know which way it is. Sorry?
Yeah.
It's either a square and a sphere, a sphere and a
circle and a
square. I don't know. But what were you saying? Sorry?
Nothing. It's
Drones.
fine.
Drones are
Drones
amazing.
are insane. Yeah.
And any
drone
advanced technology,
technology.
a drone would be
Yeah.
like I picture it like a glob of like mercury. I think Terminator sort of thing, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I
or
mean?
what was that movie? The Abyss.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff, that liquid metal thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about the idea of the phenomenon, though, of it being like a tangible thing? Like Jacques Vallee was saying, you know, you hear about these UFO flaps. You know, a lot of events happening in a certain place over a certain period of
Slide
time.
back. Sorry. There we go.
You know what I mean? No?
A flap is an event.
They call that a UFO flap. Like
I've never heard that.
Yeah, who is
I've
they?
never heard that term.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm serious. Us.
No. You're deep into this stuff, though.
No. I thought that was just like I thought.
I've never
Zucks.
ever heard that.
Zucks.
Okay, sure. Anyways, a UFO, like a group.
Is it an acronym or something? A flap? A UFO flap?
Is that an info dump?
I don't know why they call it a flap.
Fair enough?
I don't know.
It sounds like a Twitter
Like
term.
the flap of a wing.
Listen, man, I learn something new every day. UFO flap.
Anyways, when a group of things happen, like when Mothman was sighted in West Virginia or wherever that was, there was like all over Virginia, there had been all UFO sightings that coincided with what was happening there.
And this is a flap.
Yeah, a bunch of things all happening at the same time. And what they're saying is like, that's the phenomenon rewarding that. That's what I thought he was saying, was like, if you believe, they will come, almost. Which is kind of, see, and I'm surprised nobody ever brings up, what's his name? Dr. Greer. Because he seems kind of loopy now, but back in the 80s, he was pushing hard for disclosure. He was like legitimately going in front of Congress. Stephen Greer, correct.
You said Alan, sorry.
I think I just said Dr. Greer.
I think
You said Alan Greer. We can check the tape after.
All right, whatever. So who's Alan Greer? It doesn't matter. He was like legitimately trying to bring all the things we're talking about now to the forefront. Now he still is
we
doing
reviewed his
that, I
podcast
guess.
and we all said he was a bit of a loose cannon.
Well, now he claims that he does this thing called, I don't even remember the name of it. It has something 5 or whatever, where a group of people will get together and meditate UFOs into it. C5, I think it's called, or C something. What?
I think
Anyways,
he spoke about that on his podcast.
He did, yeah. But
I remember
Demi
shitting all
Lovato
over
is
that
really
guy.
into it. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it, Kamar. That seems to fall right into your wheelhouse.
Does it?
That's what the kids.
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Demi Lovato, I think, went out to his, like, spent time with him doing his C5, bringing UFOs in.
Interesting.
But listen, what if he's not crazy? What if that is like, look, if it has something to do with that conscious superhighway, and you're just tapping into that somehow, maybe there is a key to tap in. Maybe drugs is that key, but maybe also that you can get there by some sort of meditation. I don't know, man. Like a mocha.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not my, the theory I choose to believe, but
He didn't make us feel confident.
Jacques Vallee?
No, Greer.
Oh,
We did the
no.
podcast. It doesn't matter. It's just
in the same
takes nothing away
in the
from him.
same way that Matt doesn't like when
This
what's
isn't
his
gonna be
name
good.
talks about moving things with their mind.
I don't like when you talk about moving things with your mind.
No,
Yeah, what's his name? Simon.
God damn it, not Randall Carlson.
Graham Hancock?
Graham Hancock. Right?
How did you not pull that? I thought you had it tattooed on your forearm or something.
But I just know that that makes it hard for you to believe some of his other stuff if he was to talk about that.
No. I think everyone has a few crazy things, and that's fine. I told you, I think Graham Hancock will most likely be proven right in the future.
Probably about that mind moving thing too.
No, not about
He had to
not
slip
about
that in like
that.
a pork bill. You know what I mean?
No, he's exactly what's wrong with politicians too, where they're like, safer ports for sure. Fuck poker, throw that in there too. You know what I mean? You're like, no, I didn't agree with that. That's not what we were talking about.
There. I think Jacques Vallee and Graham Hancock would be amazing if they were your uncles.
Oh fuck! What fucking Thanksgivings that would be, eh?
Simon's just,
The one thing he said was, the people, they will not tell because
oh no,
they don't want to be crazy.
I forgot to. I think I forgot to eliminate some of the video there. It's gonna be a problem.
It does not matter when he said that people don't rob port because they don't want people to think they're crazy. That's the truest thing. You know what I mean? That makes you go, okay, I believe it.
Totally, and the same is true for Bigfoot. And I'm not being facetious. Like,
Yeah, no.
if
falls
you
in the same
were to
category.
see Bigfoot, I mean, I would be screaming it from the rooftops. You probably wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Well, I wouldn't want to be labeled crazy, and I don't give a shit. So you're right. I would just be like, I saw something in the woods. Who the fuck knows? I wouldn't tell anyone. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't an insult. It
No, I
was
know.
like,
Yeah, you're
there's
right.
a lot of
Yeah.
people like you out there. There's a lot of people like there out with UFOs. I think the ones we hear most about are these people who have these like the very seldom few who get these experiences that are like a Travis Walton, right? That become famous. But for the most part, I would imagine people see things and you'll never know.
I feel like he might be coming on.
Travis Walton.
I think so too. I think Joe got like a seed of.
that's
I
why-
totally agree.
Because he
Kumar.
has. How old is he? Where does he live?
Yeah, and he's young still because he was young when it happened.
Well,
So
Jacques
he's only
Vallee is
like
81.
I know, but
he's
he's
got to be
only
the bar.
Walton's only 60.
I know, but I just couldn't believe how virile, and it made me look at life differently.
Well, the guy's doing things he loves. Maybe that's what it's all about.
That sounds
For
about right.
longevity.
That sounds wrong,
I
right?
said that sounds about right. Yeah.
So just back to the phenomenon for a second. So the phenomenon, if it's a conscious,
We got to wrap this up.
okay, if it's a consciousness thing, and it is like, it is doing something, rewarding the flaps, making it so we see more of them at a certain time or whatever it is. Maybe that's the phenomenon preparing us for disclosure, meaning this is the rate of.
Or hopefully, in your case.
I don't know. It's just another way to look at it. Like the whole idea that it's, I don't know, if it's just so different than any of us can even possibly imagine, then everything that we would be thinking would be totally, anyways, whatever.
We need
Yeah, we're done.
UFOologists.
It's all good. I think that's it. Travis Walton was my last thing.
Do we want to rate it?
It's,
Kumar, we'll start with you. We'll let Simon rate this one last. This was his.
Like
Dave
I
Chappelle.
said, the introduction made this seem like, because you know how Joe always says, well, we don't do intro anymore, so, but he made it seem like this was going to be real.
Like you were about to get the goods, like they were going to
The
wheel in the body
skinny. And it took a long time
to not get the body.
to confirm basically everything we've discussed and whatnot. Maybe a little something new, but then, as Simon alluded to before, but you have to read the book. It broke my back. I give this a 2.
I still give it a 4. That was a good fun talk. I knew Simon would like it, so I was excited for
I was
him.
very excited for you, Simon.
Yeah.
4.8.
Yeah.
Okay. It is what it is.
It
All
is
right.
what it is.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it this far, that's incredible. You are incredible.
Thank you.
Pat yourself on the back. We have a bunch of stuff you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's JREE Podcast. You can follow Kumar on Instagram
At Kamar Babar.
for the weather. You can also follow him on Twitter. Same thing. We have a YouTube. It's youtube.com/JREE Podcast if you want to see what we look like. And the Patreon, patreon.com/JREE Podcast. You can join for as little as $5 a month. Starting in 2021, you will not get anything for that donation, really. You will just be supporting us. So decide to or not, it's up to you.
Except for the post, Joe.
If you have supported us up to this point, we love you. Thank you so much.
Plus, if you join now, there's still 40 episodes, you know?
Yeah, you
It's
get a big backlog. Yeah. That being said,
Big catalog.
there you go. That being said, thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great weekend, and as usual,
Especially now, keep your eyes open.